And good morning to you. Good morning. Could I get me some weather? Could I get me some weather, Mr. Mac? Mackie, just a little weather. That'd be great. I appreciate it, my friend. We all good? Everything good? Okay. All right. Just peeking into the studio back at Central Control. Perfect. All right. We do hand gestures back and forth. All clean, of course. We don't do naughty hand gestures because we are above board. We adhere to the community standards that might otherwise get us banned from the platform. There I go. Making the old man sound when I bend over. Can't help it. Mac taught me that's what happens when you get old. He's listening right now. No, because he wants to, but because he has to, probably. Welcome to the show. Welcome to Freedom's Pep Rally. Wednesday, middle of the week, we get a little rain. Maybe Mike Violette's going to be here tomorrow. I don't know. I don't know. Word on the street is that tomorrow might be the day. So we'll find out when tomorrow gets here, maybe before. I haven't checked his Facebook page this morning. I've been diligently working to prepare a show that will delight you and entertain you and make you proud that you're a listener. I work hard. Oh, no, never mind. The continuum of thought, my mind just bounces all around. I was going to say I was a busy beaver, or busy like a squirrel. And that made me immediately think, I was going to say that, I didn't. But the fact I was going to say that made me think of two dead mice I have in my garage that we caught with the old peanut butter snap traps. Now, I understand those are pretty brutal, but I think they're more humane than, personally, correct me if I'm wrong, or correct me if you think I'm wrong. In my mind, I'm right, but you may think I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong, but, boom, snap. That's it. Boom. I would assume I've never been a mouse in a trap, but I would assume that's a quick way. Now, they have the sticky traps. Their feet get stuck in the sticky traps. Their little food in the sticky. Those are nasty. Those are just mean. Those are horrible. We've used them. I used them once at the place we used to live, and they are so mean. I literally felt bad. The little mouse still alive and his feet are stuck, and this stuff is sticky. They aren't going to get out of the tray once they're in the tray. And if you try to pull them out, it's going to dismember them. And then you've got the decon. Oh, the poison. That makes them thirsty. That makes them look for water. And they've got to be miserable. They have got to be miserable as they run around searching for water. And they'll die in the walls or something. I mean, my dad used to use that. Then there's the have-a-heart mouse traps. Oh, those are nice. So what are you going to do? You're going to catch all these mice, and then you're going to have to drive them 10 miles away from home and let them go in somebody else's yard, right? No, they're pests. They're pests. And unless you have mice as pets, I understand. We had mice as pets, and they were good. They were okay. We wouldn't do anything to hurt our pet mice. But these mice are just field mice, and they eat through the walls. They get in the walls. They destroy fabric. They destroyed a camper once that we had, a pop-up camper. They completely and totally ate one of the canvases on one side of the camper and crapped all over the mattresses, and it was horrible. So we try to get rid of them. And so far, so good. Peanut butter is what we found to be the best bait. Oh, what about cheese? Mice love cheese. They don't like cheese as much as peanut butter. I'm going to tell you that right now. Maybe unless it's on a grilled cheese sandwich, maybe. Boy, they go for that peanut butter. The peanut butter, I think, has a stronger aroma. I don't know how the olfactory senses of a mouse works, but they smell that peanut butter and they go right for it. I use the crunchy peanut butter. I don't know. I don't know if they prefer crunchy or creamy, but I used crunchy peanut butter this time. And we've got 3. I said 2 traps. We got 1 yesterday, and I go out there today, and there are 2 of them, and I've got to remove them. Anyway, so and some sad news. My wife got some sad news yesterday. The Fabric Garden in Madison is closing. She has been going to the Fabric Garden in Madison for years. Her favorite store. She loves to quilt, and this place is packed with fabric. Packed. She has gotten more fabric at that one store and made more quilts with fabric from that one store. She got her first Janome sewing machine. She's got 2 Janome sewing machines now from that store. And they're great people. They're fantastic people there. Kayla, and there's Robin, and they're wonderful people, but I guess the time, I don't know what the I don't know if it had anything to do with COVID or not. I have no idea. But they're going out of business at the end of the year. So I just wanted to mention that because they've become kind of close to me. In fact, one of them is a somewhat regular listener to the show and commenter on my posts who is there at the Fabric Garden. And we certainly wish everyone there the best of luck. It certainly has been a haven for my betrothed, who has made some beautiful quilts thanks to the fabric she's been able to get there. Time right now is 9:10, and let's get right into it, shall we? We'll start out with Today in History, as we always do, and then we'll get right into the meat of things. We have Dr. G, John Garofalo, coming up at 9:30. So make sure you get your questions in early. If you have questions, get them in early. We've got a bank of questions, but I would like to ask your questions. So let's do it. Good morning, Carol and Casey and Derica and Natalie, and a whole bunch is in here. Shirley, good morning. It's great to see everybody there. Bill is in here, and Peppermint, huh? That's Casey says, mice and rats hate the smell of peppermint. You know what? We've tried all kinds. I've never tried peppermint. But allegedly mothballs, they hated mothballs. But they still came around. Then, they hate dryer sheets. So, but they still came around. All I know is they love peanut butter. Snap. Sorry. Good morning, Jane. All right, let's find out what happened on this day in history. It is the 10th of the 11th month, 11/10. And this is the Associated Press. Please share the program. Please come back. We got a lot here for you today.
November 10th, 1975.
Superior, they said, never gives up her dead when the gales of November come early.
The ore-hauling ship Edmund Fitzgerald sinks, and its crew of 29 perishes during a severe storm on Lake Superior. 1982. Leonid Brezhnev, the Soviet leader whose years in power saw the stagnation of the Cold War superpower, dies in Moscow at age 75. Yuri Andropov succeeds him in the Kremlin. 1871. In Central Africa, journalist and explorer Henry M. Stanley finds David Livingstone near Lake Tanganyika. Livingstone, a Scottish missionary, had not been heard from for years. 1928. Film composer Ennio Morricone is born in Italy. He's best known for his scores of spaghetti westerns, from The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly to A Fistful of Dollars. And 1969.
Can you tell me how to get to Sesame Street?
Sesame Street, the kids' TV educational program with Big Bird, Oscar the Grouch, and many more Muppets, debuts on PBS. Today in History, November 10th. Tim McGuire, The Associated Press.
All right, now Big Bird is pushing vaccines on your little ones. Oh, how things have changed. How things have changed. I don't know if you've heard, but some places are now paying kids to get the vaccine. You've heard about this? Absolutely, positively deplorable. $100. $100. So you'll give your 5 to 11-year-old an experimental vaccine. What could possibly go wrong? Parents aren't stupid. Parents are not stupid. We got a side conversation going on here. Bill, let's go through this here. I don't know what we've got. I like conversations. Bill, PB is king. You could catch a grown-up men in a trap. Yeah, well, for me, it would have to be crunchy PB, Bill. And I know there's people are, oh, no, gross. Ooh, chunks. Super chunk. I love it. I love the crunch. Derica says, what about peppermint candles? I have a bunch of those nobody is eating. Oh, okay, I got to read. Candies. I thought, who besides a kid would eat a candle? Oh, candies. Okay, peppermint candies. Nobody's eating them. There's something about peppermint that I don't know. I'm with you on that. I'm not a big peppermint fan either. Not at all. Leave those out for me, Casey says. So Casey likes peppermint. And Derica says, Bill, just reset my traps with PB this morning. Good for you. Good for you. It's working too, isn't it, Derica? Guarantee it. Derica, let your guys around there know it's for the mice. Yeah, right. You want to, yeah. It's not for you. Not for you. Yeah, $100, right? $100 is what is being offered. Who doesn't want $100? Is it worth it to? Is it worth it to put your child at risk, though? Would some parents who are in dire need of a little cash for whatever reason do it? I don't know. Do it just for the money, thinking, oh, this shot's okay. It's got to be okay. Shot's going to be fine. Maybe. I don't know. It's kind of scary. We'll get to that. We'll get to where, and so far not in Maine that I know of. But I didn't have a chance to get into the local paper today, so I don't know what the latest local news is. I've got the paper up now, and I'll kind of peruse it as we're in break. But listen to this. This is a headline in the KJ this morning. Mainers face double-digit shock in 2022 electricity supply rates. Experts say the expected increase is primarily a result of rising prices for natural gas. Maine's solar policies also could increase rates in the coming years. Oh, the things they tell you now. Do you see what they're doing here? Let me explain for anybody new who's listening to the show. Let me explain to you what is going on. Climate change. The climate always changes. That is a given. There is no way around that. Man-made climate change is not going to kill us. It is it's an attempt that's working because there are so many sheep out there who believe everything the United Nations, who are the ones who began this climate scare, this alarmism. It's the United Nations Climate Council. Look it up. United Nations is a globalist authority in many minds, and they worship at the altar of the UN and climate change. And guess what? It's all a fabricated crisis that they have forced onto American sheep, American followers, American lemmings, aka progressive idiots like AOC and the gang. It's a lie. Plenty of science will prove it's a lie if you bother to look for it and read books about it. It'll prove it's a lie. So it's a non-existent crisis in search of a solution. The solution, globalism. The solution, the Paris Climate Accord and worldwide dominance of a single governance. Who's that going to be? China is continuing to pollute. Why? If they were really, really worried about climate change killing us in 10 years, China would be target 1 to stop the CO2 emissions. Russia would have never been allowed to run their pipeline. Joe Biden, no, go ahead, Vladimir. So why does Vladimir get to run his pipeline? Why does China get to keep polluting? Why does America have to destroy our infrastructure? Why does the middle class, we aren't going to raise taxes on the middle class? No, really. Everything else is going up. The price of food is going up. We've got a crisis in the supply chain. The price of power is going up. The price of heating oil and natural gas is going up. The price of everything is going up. And on top of that, you're going to tax the rich because AOC says they don't pay their fair share. So you're going to increase taxes on the rich so they can then, in order not to lose money, because they're in business to make money, so they can raise the consumer prices on all of us consumers. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure any of this out. I'm just a lowly little radio guy in the woods of central Maine I'm socially awkward, but friendly, and I'm kind of dumb. But I figured it out because I do know how to read. And I do know how to, for some reason, some unknown reason, I can tell when somebody is lying. And I see nothing but lies from these people. So we've got a lot of stuff to get to. I want to check the time right now. Dr. John Garofalo coming up at 9:30 to answer any medical questions you may have. I would love to ask yours. If you want to get it in early, that would be great. It's 9:22 right now, so that's going to be coming up shortly. At 11 o'clock this morning, we have another guest. As we had yesterday, we got Raymond Arroyo. He was just an amazing guy. Today, I think we're going to have another amazing guest, and his name is Joseph Curl. He is a longtime Washington reporter. He's been in the White House press corps. He is a writer for the Washington Times. He's been with Drudge. He's written for Fox News, and he's an all-around knowledgeable guy. And the Washington Times is, unlike the Washington Post, the Washington Times is more of a journalistic outlet than the Washington Post is, similar to when you compare the New York Post to the New York Times. In that case, the Times is the one that is not a journalist, but they are more of a narrative builder for the Biden administration and the Democrats. So that should be fun. That should be fun with Joseph Curl a little bit later on this morning right here on Legacy 1160 WSKW. Let's just do this real quick here. Then I'll take a break, and then we'll be back with the doctor, because I've shortchanged him the last couple of weeks and gotten to him late. This week, not so much. During a talk by NASA, a NASA scientist, it was some sort of a presentation, masked cackling Cammy was in attendance. And right in the middle of his presentation, she interrupts him with an important question. Very important question, cackling Cammy. So when the 28% approval rating, no, that's right, she's in the mid-20s. Cackling Cammy Harris. Oh, nobody likes her. Nobody. There's proof. So 28% is probably lower now. It'll be lower after this, likely. So she interrupts them, and she wonders, can NASA track trees from space for environmental justice by race of the neighborhoods where the trees are? Oh, my. What? Excuse me, cackling Cammy? Now, this sounds like yet another SNL skit from back when they were funny, or something from The Onion or the Babylon Bee, but believe me, it's not. It's real, and sadly not surprising. Now, I'm going to play this for you. This is, the mic wasn't real close to her, but you can hear her, and I got this from Twitter. This is the actual cackling Cammy Harris question. Give this a listen.
Climate adaptation strategies.
Can you measure trees? Part of that data that you're referring to in EJ's environmental justice, but you can also track by race their averages in terms of the number of trees in the neighborhood.
Okay, all right. So I just played that, so you would know I'm not making it up, because everything they do, it seems like you're making that up. You're making that up. No, they're really that stupid. No, they're really that out to lunch. So here's what she said. Here's a transcript. Can you measure trees? Part of the data that you were referring to, EJ, environmental justice, and it's an issue of environmental justice, that you can also track by race their averages in terms of the number of trees in the neighborhoods where people live. So you got to be kidding me. So we've got racist trees now. Kathleen Cami Harris, they cannot. Everything has to have a racial component to it. Now, even the trees from space. And this idiot interrupts a presentation by a NASA expert in the middle of his presentation to ask us stupid questions. You know when they tell you as a kid, there are no stupid questions, only stupid answers? No, that was a stupid question. That was proof that there are stupid questions. And guess what? Stupid people ask them. We'll be right back with Dr. G. I'm John James. This is Freedom's Pep Rally.
Legacy 1160, WSKW.
If you love to shop, whether it's for yourself or for others, you've got to visit Town Line Antiques. With new items arriving nearly every day, you never know what treasure you may stumble upon. Whether it's vintage signs, sports memorabilia, jewelry, coins, books, comics, artwork, or classic electronics, you're always sure to find something that tickles your fancy. Plus, there's a lot of great furniture, glassware, and household goods. And their vintage Christmas booth is now fully stocked with many wonderful items. If you're looking for ornaments, lights, stockings, figurines, or any other holiday decor, you've got to stop by to shop this dazzling selection. You'll also find Santas galore with dolls, pictures, ceramics, and more. Or how about a classic Christmas toy, like a teddy bear or a truck? Town Line Antiques is a great place to find that truly one-of-a-kind gift, or treat yourself to a trip through some wonderful memories with a present for yourself. Town Line Antiques, open Tuesday through Sunday from 10 to 5, Route 201, right on the Winslow-Vassalboro Town Line.
There are two types of people in the winter, those that put off their heavy work until the spring, and those who visited Whittemore & Sons for a Coyote tractor, so they can get nearly any job done no matter the weather. Coyote tractors are some of the toughest, most powerful, fuel-efficient, technologically advanced tractors ever built. Move that big pile of snow, transport that wood, and take care of all of your other heavy-duty winter jobs in no time with a Coyote tractor. Check out our full line of tough and versatile Coyote compact tractors, attachments, implements, and accessories at Whittemore & Sons, with dependable sales and service for over 50 years. Speaking of service, don't forget our service department is always ready to get you back in business. You never know when something may go wrong, but no matter when it does, Whittemore & Sons is ready to help. If you have questions or want to schedule a pickup, just call 474-2591. Run ahead of the pack with a Coyote tractor from Whittemore & Sons on the Waterville Road in Skowhegan. Sales and service by a family who cares.
If you love to shop, whether it's for yourself or for others, you've got to visit Town Line Antiques. With new items arriving nearly every day, you never know what treasure you may stumble upon. Whether it's vintage signs, sports memorabilia, jewelry, coins, books, comics, artwork, or classic electronics, you're always sure to find something that tickles your fancy. Plus, there's a lot of great furniture, glassware, and household goods. And their vintage Christmas booth is now fully stocked with many wonderful items. If you're looking for ornaments, lights, stockings, figurines, or any other holiday decor, you've got to stop by to shop this dazzling selection. You'll also find Santas galore with dolls, pictures, ceramics, and more. Or how about a classic Christmas toy, like a teddy bear or a truck? Town Line Antiques is a great place to find that truly one-of-a-kind gift, or treat yourself to a trip through some wonderful memories with a present for yourself. Town Line Antiques, open Tuesday through Sunday from 10 to 5, Route 201, right on the Winslow-Vassalboro Town Line.
I'm CBS 13 meteorologist Matt Honig. Few showers, but the trend will be for increasing sunshine. Temperatures will still be seasonable today in the mid-50s. Thursday for Veterans Day looks quite nice for a blend of sunshine and clouds. Temperatures will be a bit cooler in the low 50s. Our next storm system moves in on Friday. That'll bring a quick hitting period of heavy rain and strong winds. And Saturday is looking much better.
All right. Thank you very much, Matt. Good morning. Welcome back to Freedom's Pep Rally with John James. I had to do something with weather there, so I didn't have a chance to get Dr. G on the phone, so I'm going to do that right now. I'm multitasking here, and I've gotten pretty good at it on this show. I wasn't good at it before, but I always had a song I could go to back in the day. There was always songs I could play if I got in a bind where I had to do something. But now there are no songs. I have to do it in a very finite amount of time. And that can be problematic with somebody whose mind is as slow as mine is. Let's see. What do we got here for comments on Kathleen Cami? Those are the people running our country. No wonder we're in such a mess. Stupid people are running the country. Jane, that is absolutely right. I'm seriously looking forward to the debate between, Lieutenant Governor Winsome Sears and Joy Reid. Is it, you know what? Is this going to happen? I haven't heard that it's going to happen. Winsome Sears laid down the gauntlet, but I don't think Joy Reid is bold enough to take it. I really don't. I think she's afraid. I think she doesn't like anybody who does anything that pushes back against what she believes. She just wants to speak and run. And any pushback, she gets nervous and she won't shut up. She had somebody who disagreed with her on a show recently, somebody on the other side. She didn't realize he was opposed to what she said when it came to critical race theory, and she wouldn't let him talk. We played that I want to call it a conversation, but it wasn't. Every time he tried to speak, she talked all over him. So don't expect it to happen between her and Winsome Sears, because she knows she would be in deep trouble and that the truth would come out. Let's see if we have Dr. G on the phone here this morning. Dr. G, ding, ding, paging Dr. G. Are you there?
Well, I'm present. Yes, I'm here.
Good. Well, it's good to hear you. I wound up having to do stuff during the break, so I called you as I spoke. But we're all good here. How are you doing this week? What's happening?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good.
Life is good.
No, that's good. Life is good. That's a good thing to hear. And I did get your address to the front office, so I apologize for the holdup on that. It's just, of course, we had COVID going on, but this was your present for your when was your most recent birthday?
February.
Really? So, wow. And this was for the February 2020 birthday. But
February,
Yes.
No, that's okay.
Well, no, it's not. It really isn't. But that just shows you how slow things work in this operation.
Just COVID, John. You can blame anything on COVID.
Okay. All right. Good. All right. It's COVID. COVID, not my fault at all. So we all set for some questions?
We are.
All right.
Why don't we get the only thing I did want to say parenthetically is it does look like there's some light on the horizon for some alternatives with some new oral antivirals that they're testing and researching for treatment of COVID, which is good. But that is a more to come thing at the moment.
Okay. All right.
That's all.
Okay. All right. So with that said, are these the expensive drugs? We heard about this one pill that is supposed to be very helpful, but it costs like $600 a dose.
Well, yeah, that's for now, but and I a lot of the finer details of the studies haven't been released in terms of what the efficacy is, blah blah blah, when it has to be done. So that's what I'm only saying is it does look like there's some news on the horizon, but I don't have enough details yet to really make any comments.
All right. Okay. Now, do you have any comments on kids 5 to 11? Or you can just, we can just go past that if you want to. More and more doctors are coming out and warning, as I told you, the ones right off the top of my head, Ben Carson, Robert Malone, Harvey Risch, and now others are saying, no, unless your child in that age group has comorbidities, it's not a good idea. They feel.
Yeah, well, that's the operative word in that sentence. They feel.
Right.
My only comment would be that the data does not support there's any reason to be concerned, but that's all I would say. Okay.
All right. We'll leave it at that. Okay. Let's see. What do we have? Okay. I've got a COVID question here. And you're not. I don't think you're going to like this, but I want to. I'll echo it anyway because this just came in the feed. All right, let's see. This is from Tina. If ivermectin already has been proven to work, why do they need to come up with new, more expensive drugs?
Ivermectin has not been proven to.
It has. Anecdotally, it has. It absolutely.
There's the rub. Anecdotally, the real studies haven't shown that it has that much effect. So
it has had effect.
Different antivirals.
Okay, well, I would go with ivermectin if it were available. In fact, there's a doctor in Maine that the Mills administration was going to sue for prescribing it. Meanwhile, the CDC has actually maybe it was hydroxychloroquine. They have backed down on the push against either ivermectin or hydroxychloroquine, and they have admitted there may be some efficacy to using them. So
yeah, that's the problem. Is the studies have been very inconsistent, and so initially the problem was because the studies were so inconsistent, the risks of both those drugs have significant side effects, and so that was the original concern. I think now they're thinking the thinking has changed a little bit on that, because don't forget using both of those drugs for COVID is an off-label use, which leaves the doctor in a terrible position in terms of if something does go wrong, they've been using the drug in an off-label manner, and that leaves them at risk. And so you're asking doctors to put themselves in a risk position. And so I can understand why people are reluctant to use it.
yeah, okay, and yeah, all right. Somebody is asking now. Read what happened in India with ivermectin, and are you familiar with that? That state in India?
No, I'm not. I'd have to go look at. I'd have to go look. I have to get some data and look at it. I don't know anything about that.
Look that up. There are a whole bunch of articles on it in PubMed, and PubMed.
Okay.
.gov, and there's a whole bunch of other letters and characters in the address so I'm not going to say what it is.
I'll look that up, but okay. I would hesitate to comment without having done some research.
Okay, well, basically, at this one state, and I can't remember, 1 or 2 states in India that used ivermectin as a prophylactic and a therapeutic, and had literally pretty much wiped out, according to the articles, the COVID-19 virus, SARS-CoV-2, in there. And I can't find the name of the state right here. This is a pretty big article. I can send you the link later.
Send me the link, and I'll look it up.
Okay, yeah, there's a lot to it here.
And then probably after I look at that link, I'll probably try to go to some more original source material and see what I can find out for it.
All right, yeah, because I really would like you to, and like you're employed to do this, but I know you love to research, but I would like you to understand why so many people are, on the fence about this whole COVID, medication that the government is pushing.
I understand why people are on the fence. The problem is that you see some of these things, some of these publications, and some of the things. These are someone's article written from a perspective, and it's what I like to do is go to the original source medical data and see what that says before I form an opinion. So
okay. All right. Yeah, if you just go ahead and I use DuckDuckGo, Google does give you different search. You do a query and it'll give you different search results. I go
through a lot. Yeah, there's places I go. Yeah, I'll find something.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they're just on DuckDuckGo. If you type in ivermectin India, there is just a ton of stuff on it, and I'm sure some of the places aren't reputable. Some are. PubMed.gov certainly is one of the more reputable ones. Okay, so again, another one here on COVID-19. I have a question about how constant mask wearing can weaken our immune system. I haven't had so much as a cold since 2019. Once we stop wearing them, for those that still are, how will our immune system fight off basic colds?
Same as they always did.
All right.
The problem with the common cold is there's so many viruses and they change so much that's why it's been difficult to treat and take care of in the first place. And so, yeah, the fact that you haven't been out in public and haven't been exposed means that you might be exposed to some viruses that you don't have any immunity to, but your immune system will fight the cold the same as it always did. Wearing a mask doesn't do anything to damage your immune system.
All right. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. This is the first I heard in that question.
Yeah, it doesn't damage your immune system. The fact that you haven't been exposed to things means you may not be immune to some things, but I mean your body's still going to respond the way it always did. So
Yeah. Okay. Another. It was. I'm not sure if I'm saying it right, but Carol, who's married to a doctor who who they used to live in Maine. She says it's Uttar Pradesh, and I'm saying that wrong. I knew how to pronounce it because I did talk about Uttar Pradesh. It's a state in northern India with over 200 million people. So
yeah, no, like I said,
yeah.
I'll check it out, but I don't have any information on it to form an opinion one way or the other.
Okay. Jane wants to know: have you heard of Dr. Peter McCullough? He uses. I'm trying to read this here. Uses nutraceuticals, and I think I'm saying that right, including ivermectin in his treatment of COVID. Peter McCullough, he's been all over the place. He was actually, he had a Q&A session with Dr. Nirav Shah not too long ago that appeared on Twitter, I think.
I don't know him, and I don't have any information on that either.
Okay, well, you might look him up because he's been all over. Peter McCullough is his name. And so there you go. Okay, so we got some questions there out of the way. If anybody has any other questions, post them.
We got any left in the bank?
Oh yeah. We haven't done. I mean, we're getting more in the bank because we end up talking COVID which is fine. You know, if people are asking about it, we certainly want to cover it. But
sure.
But we haven't. There's a lot of stuff we haven't gotten to yet. Now I'm trying to see where we left off. This is. Here's one. This is more with, as I guess you'd call it, aesthetics. My wife had beautiful legs and hates them now because of varicose veins. What causes that? That's a good question. I'd like to know. And can they be hidden or fixed?
Okay, varicose veins. What the cause of varicose veins is just weakening of the walls of the veins, and they balloon out and they get bigger and they become visible, etc. Causes of those are variable. Most of the time, varicose veins are caused for we don't know the cause. I can't tell you why. It's just some people are more prone to it. Sometimes varicose veins can be indicative of some other underlying problem. For instance, hemorrhoids, which really are a varicose vein of the veins around the rectum and the anus.
Right.
99% of the time they're caused by we don't know, but sometimes they can be indicative of bowel cancers or other things causing pressure in that system, causing those veins to dilate. So if there was some obstruction in the venous system coming out of the legs, that could cause it, but that would be a very rare and odd cause. There are a lot of treatments for varicose veins. Veins can be what we call stripped. Veins can be injected and sclerosed to knock them down. The problem is if you're prone to varicose veins, as you treat them, you may cause other ones to form because now that you've taken care of the one vein, the pressure increases in the other vein and causes it to dilate. So, but there are treatments, and if they're painful or if you're having problems with clotting in your varicose veins, they absolutely need to be taken care of.
Wow!
And there's no reason not to. Vascular surgeons will do that. Some general surgeons will treat them. I'd start with your primary care provider and get a referral.
Okay. So a listener asks, Crystal asks, can varicose veins be hereditary?
Yes, absolutely. They run. Well, they're not. See, the problem, we have to be very careful about using the word hereditary these days because with genes, with our increasing knowledge of genes and those kind of things, it may not be strictly identifiable on a gene. Varicose veins certainly run in families. So it'd be more correct to say they're familial, meaning running in families rather than strictly hereditary, because hereditary implies that there's some gene sequence we can point to and say, that's the cause of it.
Now that's what hemorrhoids are. It's the same thing.
That's what the hemorrhoid really is. It's the varicose vein around the anus and rectum.
Really? I never knew that. Now, what aren't there other causes for hemorrhoids, like if you're sitting all the time or something like that?
No, the sitting all the time with hemorrhoids just makes them uncomfortable.
Yeah,
but it's not necessarily a cause.
Okay.
I mean, I suppose if you're really cramped up and putting a lot of back pressure on the system all the time, that might improve it and increase them somewhat. But there are a lot of things that were tried to be blamed for causing hemorrhoids, which again, because we didn't really know what caused them.
Right.
Wow. Correlation does not imply causality.
Yep. Interesting. All right.
I've never met anybody who didn't have an anus who had hemorrhoids, right? So
right.
Everybody's anus, they don't have hemorrhoids. Well, that's not going to work, right?
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Interesting. Casey says 30% of all adults have varicose veins. Now,
it can be that high.
Wow.
Yep. Yeah, but they can be very minor. I mean,
right.
Varicose. I mean, I have a couple of small. There's spider veins, and there's different things that, they're just meaningless. They're just human beings are human beings.
Right. Wow, that's interesting. Well, this is very interesting. They can be prevented early by improving your circulation, like walking. Oh, there you go. That sounds legit.
Well, you can help keep your veins in condition by walking, because part of what, if you think about it, the blood is way down in our feet. It's got to get back up to our heart.
Right, yeah.
Okay, so two things do that. One, the push from the heart, right, which is pretty well negated by, the only thing pushing the stuff back up to the heart is the actual pressure of the heart muscle, because you've already lost all that potential energy going down in the feet. It's not going to be enough to bring it back up to the heart, right?
Yep.
So the only thing pushing it up is the pressure from the heart. But when we walk and when we use our muscles on our legs, there's a thing called a muscle pump that provides a pump to pump the blood back toward the heart.
Wow. Okay, so you pick up your cardiovascular rate. It naturally pushes the blood harder.
No. The walking it has nothing to do with your cardiovascular rate. It has to do with the contractions of the muscles in your legs.
Okay, all right. So the muscles in your legs.
Muscle pump, not cardiac muscle pump, muscle pump. It's a pump from the muscles contracting and relaxing, contracting and relaxing.
So, okay, so to see if I understand this, basically, so your legs, the muscles in your legs become like a secondary pump.
Yeah, they're a secondary. Yeah, they're like a booster.
Okay. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, well that makes good sense. All right. This is all new to me. So other than cosmetics, I mean, how do you get rid of varicose veins? And can they only happen as hemorrhoids or in your legs, or can you get them all over your body?
You can get varicose veins anywhere, but generally speaking, they happen in the leg because it's a higher pressure system. Because your legs are dependent all the time. Down below the heart, so there's higher pressure. There's higher back pressure on those legs, on your legs.
Okay.
On those veins, I should say. And so, like I said before, there's different treatments for them. You can get them injected with stuff which causes sclerosis of the vein, meaning makes it basically scar up and shut down, so that vein won't be bulging anymore.
Yep.
You can have them stripped, which is what actually happens is you put a catheter into the vein, have it come out somewhere, tie it off, and literally use that catheter to remove the vein.
Okay.
And it's just as messy as it sounds.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would imagine some people who have a lot of varicose veins, or some, they are sort of, they aren't very pretty to look at. Some, on some, some.
They're not.
But wow.
That's like Jeff Foxworthy's old joke about his wife and his grandmother had gone out and bought new, and his mother-in-law had gone out and bought new bathing suits. They were modeling them for the family and the kids. And one of the kids says, Gamma, you shouldn't write on your legs with a marker, pointing to her varicose veins. So.
Aw, that's mean. Darn kids, they say the darndest things, don't they?
They do. They come out with the damnedest things. So yeah, they can be pretty unsightly.
Yeah.
And in some places, and sometimes they can be really a problem, because if you get really big ones and they break open and they bleed, I mean, they can bleed significantly.
No kidding. So they can also be dangerous.
It's something you can ignore if they're minor, but if they start to get to be really a problem, especially if they start to get painful or inflamed or anything like that, where you start to get a phlebitis and inflammation, you need to get those looked at.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. I'm glad that turned out to be a more in-depth question than I thought. Casey, who was suggesting the walking, he says, you may now address me as Dr. Love. So there you go. That's good. I was the original Dr. Love.
Unfortunately, that's already taken.
Oh, is it really?
It's been taken in music.
Yeah, Kiss.
And also there is a Dr. Love who's a cardiologist down in Portland.
Oh, is that
he
right?
He's retired by now, but there is, yeah.
Really? Oh, no kidding. Yeah. I remember Kiss had a song. I love the song, Calling Dr. Love. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
They call me Dr. Love. That's a very poor impression of Kiss, but...
some people call me Maurice. Some people call me the Doctor of Love.
That's right, the Doctor of Love. That's right. Yeah, it's Steve Miller Band. We can do this. I like doing the music thing. Any music references, throw them at me, Dr. G. See if you can stump me.
So there you go, Casey. Sorry, but you're a latecomer. It's already been taken.
Sorry, Casey. I'm sorry. That reminds me of Casey Kasem. Moving up 3 notches to number 6 this week, it's Kiss.
Yep, there you go.
Here's Calling Dr. Love. There you go, Casey, just for you.
He voiced
Shaggy and Scooby and Scooby.
And Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
You know that.
Yeah, isn't that funny? It was years later. I always listened to Casey Kasem, but it was years later I found out, and it made sense. I mean, Shaggy sounded just like him, and it was. I should have figured it out, because I do recognize voice. I'm good at voice. I'm not good at much else, but I'm good at voices. And that one eluded me for a number of years till I finally, it was a trivia question. Okay, we've got one more question. Do you still have Haynes? Okay, that's a longer one. We'll save that. What do high protein levels in urine mean?
High protein levels in urine can be evidence of glomerulonephritis or kidneys that are beginning to fail.
Oh, really?
What happens is, generally speaking, protein doesn't. A little bit does. Protein doesn't get filtered out into the urine, and if it's being allowed to get into the urine, that means that the kidneys aren't working the way they're supposed to.
Now, if you see this, and I assume whoever is asking the question probably had just gotten some labs back with high protein levels in the urine. Are there other, I'm trying to put this person at ease if they're listening this morning. Are there other things that could cause it? Or if it is kidney problems, can they be corrected?
Well, yeah, it depends. I mean, some of the things that cause the kidneys to leak protein are just, they are what they are, okay? And they're not necessarily evidence of impending kidney failure, but there's a lot of things that it could be. One thing is how concentrated was the urine. If someone had not been drinking much and they gave a urine specimen and they had a very high, what we call specific gravity, meaning the urine was very concentrated, the protein level may appear high, but it may not be. What has to happen is if you get a couple of dipsticks on your urines, and not dipsticks checking your urines, a couple of dipsticks done on your urine that show high protein levels, what you need to do is you need to get what we call a 24-hour urine collection done and get it checked for the amount of protein that's dumped out in 24 hours.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, and the rate at which that's happening, which you check some other things in the urine, you know that. And that'll tell you whether or not there's something serious to be worried about.
Okay. Well, yeah, because when you go in for your labs and they tell you, pee in a cup, they don't ask you, how long has it been since you peed? Or have you, depending on what the length of time has been, it can really, really skew the results, I would imagine.
A little bit, yeah. But the thing is that's why we check multiple things.
Right.
If I saw someone with say a 3+ protein on a dipstick, but their specific gravity was really high, meaning that their urine was concentrated, I'd say, okay, we need to repeat this and see what's going on.
Okay.
Because I wouldn't know whether it necessarily meant anything.
Yeah. Wow, very interesting. Okay, well there you go, and that's we're out of time already, Dr. G.
Good.
Good. Good.
No, it's too bad. 'Cause this is good stuff. To talk about stuff like this.
It is.
Because they're common problems that that people wonder about, and I don't blame them for not wanting to spend the money to go talk to their doctor. But
right.
Right. And I don't.
But no, I mean, you certainly give them some ideas and maybe put their minds at ease. But you also recommend they do see a doctor, obviously. What? Okay, here's a question I've got now. More and more doctors are requesting televisits. Now, there are just so many questions, so many limitations. I mean, how do you really diagnose anything with a televisit?
Well, it depends on what. If someone were acutely ill, I don't think very many people would do televisits. Mostly televisits are for routine follow-up for blood pressure and stuff like that. And if you have someone who can take their blood pressure at home and give you the information, the main benefit of televisits is sometimes you can do a televisit and tell the person, you know what, from what I'm seeing and hearing from you, you don't need to come in for this, or no, you better come in for this.
Okay.
I would call televisits more of a triage tool than necessarily an end-all, be-all.
All right. Okay. So
until the day we all have some kind of scanners in our house that we can step into and send doctors information, I don't know that you can do everything over even with television. But they are a good triage tool.
Yeah. Oh, that makes perfect sense. But you know what? And this is I've got maybe I've asked you about this before, and then I've got another question. Now the questions are coming in. Casey says, "Don't you hate it when you go to an appointment and use the restroom? Then 10 minutes later they ask you to pee in a cup." Oh boy, that happens. That does happen.
Well, think ahead. If you're there for either a urinary complaint or a physical or something like that.
Physical, yeah. No, that's right. No, you're right. But no, I totally get that. Okay, so they've got this thing called it hooks up to your phone. You put your fingers on it, and it sends a medical grade EKG to your doctor. Is that true? Is that possible? Or
the only thing you can really do over the phone or using your phone and stuff is you can get a good rhythm strip for your doctor to be able to look at your rhythm strip and know what rhythm your heart is in. But you can't do what we call a complete 12-lead EKG with anything that's available as an app.
Okay, all right.
It doesn't exist. And the problem is, even a 12-lead EKG won't necessarily show if you're having a heart attack or if there's any evidence of ischemia.
Okay.
Of interrupted blood flow in the heart. Your EKG, some people who are having a heart attack have a normal-looking EKG.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So when they're saying medical grade, what they mean is it's done that it's put on a strip or put in a pattern that's interpretable in terms of being able to measure intervals for how the electrical signal is progressing through the heart and be able to see enough to be able to determine what the rhythm is. But it's not an EKG like a 12-lead EKG they do.
Right.
Yeah, having a heart attack or something like that.
Right. Yeah, they put I know. I was wondering how you could put your fingers on this pad. No, it's a medical grade EKG. But when I go to the doctor's office, they put all these leads on your side and on your chest, so it's a rhythm strip. You remember that was
all you're really getting is a rhythm strip. Yeah.
That was. Do you remember that? That was a song by Ian Dury and the Blockheads. Do you remember them?
No.
Hit me with your rhythm strip. Hit me. Oh,
that one.
That was Rhythm Stick. Yeah, Ian Dury. They also did Sex and Drugs and Rock and Roll.
Okay.
Yeah, that was
one I remember.
Yeah, Ian Dury and the Blockheads.
Yeah.
So yeah, look that one up. Hit me with your rhythm stick, not strip. I misquoted that.
Close enough.
Close enough. Thank you. Jill asks, ever since I had Lyme disease, when I yawn, I have sharp pains in my neck. I wait a minute, then it goes away.
Well, that's probably not from her Lyme disease.
Okay.
Unless you have some residual arthritis, but even still, if she's getting really sharp pains that persist for a little while after she yawns, she probably ought to go get that looked at.
Okay.
That's a half-hour discussion right there.
Okay.
But,
all right.
But it's the kind of thing that I would probably go get that looked at. She may just have TMJ.
Oh yeah. Had that. Yeah.
Yep.
But get it looked at. Good advice. So Jill, there you go. And I hope everything's okay for you. Hope everything works out okay. More good advice from the doctor, and that's why we have him here. So thank you so much again for joining us, Dr. John Garofalo, a retired PCP and ER doc, here of his own volition to answer questions every week and talk with us. And we sure do appreciate it, Doctor.
You mean this guy you sent over here with the 22 standing behind me is my volition?
Is it your volition?
I said, you mean this guy you sent over here standing behind me with the 22 is my volition?
That's your volition. Yes, it is.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, it is. Absolutely. And that's not a 20.
What his name was.
It's not a 22, by the way. It's a 38.
Oh, okay.
So yeah.
Yeah, I don't dare turn around and really look.
No, you don't want to look. You don't want to pay any attention. It says, oh, never mind. I've got a million of them now. I tell you. There was something else I was going to say to you, but I don't remember what it was. It couldn't have been that important, but I thought it was. No, I guess I'll just say thank you and appreciate your time as always. And hopefully we'll do it again next week.
Sounds good. And, as always, be respectful out there and be careful out there.
Thank you, Dr. G. You have a great day, my friend.
All right. You take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Dr. John Garofalo, retired PCP and ER doc from Maine, and a great guy, has come on with us for well over going on 2 years now. Just about every Wednesday. There was only once that he had to cancel, and it was because he and his wife had something that came up, and I've had to cancel a couple of times. But otherwise, he is here every single week, and that's more than I could have hoped for. Plus, he's a good friend. We'll be back. We're a little late for a break here, but after the news, we're going to come back and we're going to talk a little bit more about what's going on. We'll tell you about the $100 COVID lure being proposed in various cities for children. Stick around.
WSKW, Legacy 1160.
What's important here at Moody's is we have a lot of opportunity for upward mobility.
Moody's definitely helped me through. They sent me to school. I got my degree in business. I had the demeanor and I had the willpower and the want.
Our trade is constantly changing and there's always new challenges that arise.
I definitely feel like an owner. It's very exciting.
When you like what you do, you like your job, you like the people you work with, what else could you ask for?
Bring your skills to Moody's and build a long-term future with us.
Hi, my name is Tony Esposito from Dover Ford and Dover Foxcroft. In the past 2 months, we have had the good fortune of meeting hundreds of new friends and have helped over 200 people get a better deal and better service right here in Piscataquis County. Everyone we have met has been welcoming and friendly, and on behalf of everyone at Dover Ford, we thank you for the opportunity to manage your automotive needs. This month at Dover Ford, we will be raffling off a restored 1986 F-150 and dozens of other prizes. It doesn't cost anything to enter. Just pop into Dover Ford in the month of November and throw your name in the hat. Also, if you have a car or truck you are trying to sell, Dover Ford wants to buy it. We are paying top dollar for all cars and trucks, regardless of make, model, or mileage. Take advantage of the market and get the most for your used vehicle when you come on over to Dover Ford in downtown Dover Foxcroft or doverford.com.
I'm CBS 13 meteorologist Matt Honig. Few showers, but the trend will be for increasing sunshine. Temperatures will still be seasonable today in the mid-50s. Thursday for Veterans Day looks quite nice for a blend of sunshine and clouds. Temperatures will be a bit cooler in the low 50s. Our next storm system moves in on Friday. That'll bring a quick hitting period of heavy rain and strong winds, and Saturday is looking much better.
From the Home Auto Group Studios, Farmington Ford and Franklin Chrysler in Farmington. This is WSKW, Skowhegan, Augusta, Waterville, Legacy 1160.
ABC News, I'm Ika Jachi. A federal judge ruling that the National Archives is allowed to turn over documents and records pertaining to the January 6th attack on the Capitol. The judge denying former President Trump's request to use executive privilege to keep his White House records under wraps.
The committee is hoping to get call logs, emails, and notes to determine what was happening inside the White House on and shortly before January 6th. They are also interested in video, including outtakes of the infamous video Trump released that night, where he asked rioters to go home, but he also praised them.
ABC Chief Washington correspondent Jonathan Carl, the district attorney in Santa Fe, New Mexico, telling ABC News in an exclusive interview that she doesn't think anyone sabotaged the movie set on which cinematographer Helena Hutchins was accidentally killed. Nearly a dozen states are seeing an increase in COVID hospitalizations. 95% of the intensive care unit beds in the state of Georgia are now full, with those who are unvaccinated. This is ABC News. Despite upcoming talks in Vienna on Iran's nuclear program, Israeli officials are now talking about possible war. ABC's Jordana Miller has the latest from Jerusalem.
Israel says it is preparing for a possible military conflict with Iran, what may reflect Jerusalem's skepticism over the upcoming nuclear talks in Vienna. The chief of the Israeli army, General Aviv Kohavi, telling lawmakers he is, quote, speeding up the operational plans and readiness for dealing with Iran and the nuclear military threat. Kohavi expressing satisfaction with the new budget. He has a reported $1.5 billion to upgrade a potential Israeli strike on Iran's nuclear program. Jordana Miller, ABC News, Jerusalem.
And if you can drive a plow truck, you may be able to make some really good money this winter. Towns and cities across the country now say they are running into a shortage of drivers. Watertown, Massachusetts, offering pay to clear roads of snow of up to $310 per hour, depending on the type of equipment used. Ika Jachi, ABC News.
'Twas the season of cheer and joy filled the town, except for Scrooge with his perma-frown. The gift of a Peloton bike touched his soul without doubt.
Work, Peloton.
When your workout's a joy, it's a joy to work out.
You can do it.
The original Peloton bike is our best price ever, $39 a month. All access membership separate. Terms apply. See website for details.
It's not just Santa who's coming to town, it's also your in-laws and their cousins. So time for some gifts from the Home Depot. From doorbell cameras to intelligent thermostats, you'll look smart and save big on the latest smart home gifts. Does your father-in-law like to fix things around the house? Put him to work with a DeWalt 20-volt 2-battery starter kit. Buy one, get one free. That should keep him busy. No matter who comes to town this year, make the holidays yours with savings on tools and gifts store-wide from the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
Good morning. Welcome back, Freedom's Pep Rally. John James here at your service. Oh boy, I've got a feeling this is gonna. Oh, you can't believe you're anti-Native American. It's a hit. Here it comes. There it is. That's a huge hit. Huge hit. Great song. Sugar Hill Gang. Apache. It's 10:10 here on Legacy 1160 WSKW. I'm John James, your host, and I am pleased to be here informing you and letting you know what's going on, letting you know what the fight is. The fight is on a bunch of different fronts. Not the least of which now are the vax mandates for kids. According to The Blaze, New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio indicated that kids age 5 to 11 who are eligible to get a COVID-19 vaccine will eventually need to show proof of vaccination to enter some businesses. But it may take a number of weeks before the policy is introduced. So, in New York City, in the Big Apple, America's biggest city, Broadway, the Great White Way, going to have a vaccine passport, kids. But, no. Bill de Blasio says so. During a press briefing on the city's COVID-19 response, WNYC-FM reporter asked the mayor at what point he will ask restaurants, gyms, and other organizations and institutions that require adults and teenagers to show proof of vaccination to extend that requirement to children now that the Pfizer vaccine has been approved for 5 to 11-year-olds. Weeks. Looks like maybe weeks away. Is it any wonder people are getting the heck out of New York? A once great city. Not only that, but de Blasio, Lori Lightfoot in Chicago, and others are now offering $100 to young kids to get the vax. Here is a report from New York City. Listen to this.
New York City is extending the $100 incentive to kids who get vaccinated at city-run sites or at their schools. Children ages 5 to 11 are now eligible to get the Pfizer shot. News 4 talked to one mother and daughter who say they're doing their part to beat the pandemic.
Well, I'm a little nervous, but I'm also excited. I don't want to get COVID or Delta variant.
We were really excited about going forward to make a small contribution to the health of New York City.
Starting on Monday, kids can also get vaccinated at pop-up sites at their city schools.
Well, there you go. It's happening in Maine now, too. How long before it's mandated here in Maine? What are parents going to do? In Portland, Maine, a once great city in the state of Maine, now being run by tyrants, now being run by the leftist mob. So now you have to show proof of vaccination to get into, wherever you go. Hadlock Field has no baseball now, but probably to go to the Expo to watch the basketball team, whatever it is, was the Red Claws, I guess. I don't know what it is now. The Celtics. I don't even keep up with it. I wouldn't go to an event in Portland. Yeah, I've had the vaccine. I do have my card. I don't carry my card. I'm not going to go into any place that requires I show my papers. Forget about that. I'm not going to play the game. That's what it is. It's a tyrannical game. This is all being done. They're scaring you about COVID. They're scaring you about climate change. It's all a game. It's all they are creating crises. I'm not saying the COVID is not real. I am not saying that. But this 100% compliance thing is that's beyond the pale. That's going a little too far, especially with kids. It's beyond troubling and sick too. Doctors are recommending that healthy kids don't need the shot. Not all, but many are. And this is nothing short of experimental on them, say these doctors. They include Dr. Ben Carson, Dr. Harvey Risch, Dr. Robert Malone, who himself is one of the inventors of the mRNA vaccine. So why? Why would you, if you've got a healthy child, it's up to you. I'm not saying if you get your child vaccinated, I wish you well. Probably nothing bad will happen, but why would you want to subject a child who is likely not going to get it, unless they've got comorbidities? That's another story. Why would you subject a child to that? Just to go along with the left. Because you believe what the left says. Everything the left tells you to do, you do like clockwork. You are compliant. And unlike people on my side and most of my listeners' side, if you choose to get the vaccine, we don't criticize you. We've seen mothers, mask Nazi mothers and fathers on Twitter saying people who don't get their kids vaccinated, maybe your kids will die. Well, thanks for that. Thank you for allowing us to have our freedom. This is the mob. The mob is always angry. The mob is always fuming. The mob wishes the worst on you and your family. And they pray. I imagine many of them pray. I hope people that don't get vaccinated, I hope their children die and they learn a lesson. Hey, I'm freedom. Whatever. You want to get vaccinated, don't want to get vaccinated. God bless America. We used to have that right, but maybe not for much longer. Go ahead, let it go. Let it keep going. Let it keep going. How much more power will they usurp before somebody stands up and pounds their fist and says, to hell with this? Is it going to take a real insurrection? I'm asking that. I'm just asking that. Are we going to let this go far enough? So the only way we're going to be able to save it is by an insurrection. Hopefully not. I hope not. There was no insurrection on January 6th. Again, it's a manufactured crisis looking for a solution. And the solution is to keep Donald Trump from running again. The solution is to excoriate the Republicans. The solution is to make it look like we almost lost our democracy. That's what the left says. You and I know that is the furthest thing from the truth, because conservatives are more about democracy in our democratic republic and freedom and liberty for all than anyone on the left and many on the right. They have no clue what they're saying. They don't know how stupid they sound. To go on MSNBC and CNN, well, we're in the process of losing our democracy thanks to the Republicans. Say what? Who's following the leader here? Who is following the tyrannical government? Well, I think less and less every day, to be honest with you. Joe Biden's now in the mid-30s for an approval rating. Kamala Harris is in the 20s. Nobody likes her. Few like Joe. Nobody likes her. Asking if they can spot racism in the trees from space. What kind of an idiot is she? Or does she just play one in Washington? I don't know. So here are some facts I got about the vaccination for kids. This comes from, and you can look this up, there's a link at legacy1160.com/FPR. It comes from childrenshealthdefense.org. They advise parents, tell your superintendent no mandates. They suggest write a letter to your superintendent of schools. CHD has 2 letter samples already written. And again, you can link to the story at legacy1160.com/FPR. Short letter to universities and detailed long letter to school districts. Religious exemption letters are there too. And exemption forms are available for download on new PROMIC, P-R-O-M-I-C website. And again, all the links are there for you. Go to legacy1160.com/FPR, and there's a link to this particular story. Now, here are some facts you can use from childrenshealthdefense.org. What we now know about COVID-19 and children. Almost 100% of kids don't suffer from severe COVID. In fact, many have no symptoms at all. Thus, they may have already had COVID, which is another excellent reason not to get the vaccine. The World Health Organization has announced that young people should not take the vaccine. The World Health Organization. That's Joe Biden's communist buddies. A concerning number of young people, especially those under 30, are suffering from myocarditis, which is inflammation of the heart, blood clots, mostly I think with Johnson & Johnson, low platelets, and more following vaccination. The risks of COVID-19 vaccination adverse outcomes certainly outweighs the benefits to children and young adults who are considered low-risk populations, again, comorbidities aside. Parental rights to make independent, informed decisions regarding their children's medical interventions, including vaccines, are being threatened. Some scientists have raised concerns that the safety risk of COVID-19 vaccinations have been underestimated. As of September 10th, update, there have been 701,561 vaccine injuries, including almost 15,000 deaths following the COVID vaccinations. Now that's pushing toward 750,000 vaccine injuries. You figure 1 million, you'd have like a 1 in 300 chance of a vaccine injury, or 1 in 329, 330 chance. That's pretty high. Clinical trials in children and young adults are ongoing and will not be completed for at least a year. Welcome to the world of being a guinea pig for your children. Hundreds of colleges and universities embrace COVID vaccine mandates, but there is no reason why students and families can't shun coercive educational institutions and forge their own educational path. And they should, in my humble opinion. Not a single published study has demonstrated that patients who have had a prior COVID-19 infection benefit from the vaccination. Not a single published study, this is important, not a single published study has demonstrated that patients who have had a prior COVID-19 infection benefit from the vaccination. So why recommend kids get the shot? And so you have this nurse who got fired who had COVID-19 and moved to Presque Isle from North Carolina, got fired from Northern Light, that's Eastern Maine Medical Center's parent company, got fired, had to pay back her moving expenses, is unemployed in Northern Maine with 7 kids and an unemployed husband, also a nurse, going into a brutal Maine winter, had COVID, has natural immunity, hospital doesn't care, you're fired. Heartless, not following the science, foolish. This is Maine's healthcare system. They made the decision. Whoa, Janet Mills. No, they made the decision before Janet Mills issued her mandate. Northern Light said everybody's got to be vaccinated or they're fired. They lose their jobs. And that's just what happened to Stephanie Grandy in Presque Isle. I've got to get in touch with her and find out how she's doing. All right, so let's see what Jane's got here. I want to share with you Dr. McCullough. Peter McCullough is the doctor. On his podcast this week, said that 5 to 11-year-olds stand more of a chance of suffering myocarditis from getting the vaccine than coming down and being hospitalized from the COVID virus. And yeah, we've heard that from others too, Jane. Thank you for adding that from Dr. Peter McCullough, who's been very outspoken on this, and he has been silenced. He has been silenced by social media because they are pushing a narrative. Social media is pushing a narrative. Many of these mainstream media outlets are also pushing the same narrative. This is not informed consent. This is not what happens in a free country. You are given the report, and then you decide what to do. Fox News has done that. Fox News has reported on doctors saying hydroxychloroquine and ivermectin works. They've also they did a big piece on what is it? The IV intervention early in COVID. That is, oh boy, I forget what the treatment is called. But they did a big report on that. And they also did a report on the adverse effects. And they also have said, if you've got comorbidities or you want to get the vaccine, get the vaccine. So you get all the sides. Oh, yeah, it makes it kind of confusing, doesn't it? I understand that. I understand that. But I would rather be confused but have the information to make a decision than only get one side and make a decision based on the only one side I'm getting that turns out to be the wrong decision for me or my family. You understand what I'm saying? This is tyranny. Again, like with climate change, they're making a total non-emergency and fake crisis and using it to take power from the people. They're scaring you into getting the vaccine. Wake up. I mean, it's so obvious what's going on here. It is so obvious. And there are so many people just still drinking the Kool-Aid. They don't question. I mean, at least ask questions. At least ask questions, demand answers. But they don't. I do. A fool takes the first thing they hear and acts on it without questioning. This is your health. This is your health. And you're going to give it to one side? You're going to, without questioning whether or not what the other side, there should be no delineation here. Everybody should be on the same page. We should be getting all of the information from the media. All media should be giving us everything we need to know. We should all be able to make our own decision, and we should not have to be canceled or criticized or made fun of for whatever decision we make in a free country. But now, if you make a decision the left doesn't agree with, you are excoriated, you are canceled. You may be physically hurt. You may be physically hurt by leftists if you don't make the right decision. You don't believe me? Let's talk for a minute about what is going on with Kyle Rittenhouse. You know who this guy is, right? Kyle Rittenhouse is the teenager from Illinois. He went to Kenosha, Wisconsin in the midst of the riots there, and he shot 3 people, claimed self-defense with an AR-15. Nobody, mainstream media didn't believe him. They had him tried, found guilty, and executed. As soon as it came out, as soon as Kyle, is a teenager, as soon as this came out, Joy Reid, he was a racist, right? And the rest of them, CNN, well, he's guilty. He shot 3 people. He's just some white guy with a gun going down there, white supremacy. Not so fast. Not so fast. The evidence is there, and the prosecution has nothing. There was a good piece on Tucker Carlson last night about the trial. Turns out the prosecution is failing miserably at every step and actually proving Kyle Rittenhouse's case for him. They are actually proving his case with their witnesses. You can watch it. You can find it. You can find the Tucker Carlson piece from last night online. Video and testimony show that all 3 shootings, two were fatal. One was not. All 3 shootings were actually self-defense. As Kyle Rittenhouse said, Kyle Rittenhouse is a good guy with a gun. They do exist. They do exist. He was actually there scrubbing graffiti off some of the buildings. I mean, he was there trying to help clean up the city that these thugs were destroying. And then only when the riots began did he take his protection, his gun with him, as others did. as did the guys who testified. The guy who was shot and lived testified, and there was a video clearly of him pointing a gun at Kyle Rittenhouse when Kyle Rittenhouse shot him. He was pointing a loaded gun at him. Now, this guy was a child molester. I think it was him. One of the guys with a gun was a child molester and wasn't allowed to carry a gun. This guy that testified, his permit had expired. He admitted it. I mean, their case is completely falling apart on him here. Now, there's an online outlet that is just about as far left as you can get. Thank you, Carol. Monoclonal antibodies. That's the other treatment. I was trying to think of that. Fox News talked a lot about that. Monoclonal antibodies. And you heard nobody in mainstream media even suggesting that as a treatment, and it is. It absolutely is a treatment that works if used early enough for COVID. But mainstream media is pushing the vaccine compliantly because they work for the government. They are a government agency. The federal government might as well own MSNBC, CNN, and all of the others. Lester Holt, Norah O'Donnell, and, I've got some news about Brian Williams. Don't let me forget that. Anyway, one of the news organizations, the online outlets that is as far left as you can go, is the Young Turks. That's the one that Cenk Uygur is on. Cenk Uygur is the biggest pant load I think you're ever going to see. He lost an election in California. He's absolutely horrendous. He's terrible. But they're a very far left outlet. And I'm going to tell you that before I let you hear, and you will see this piece. If you're watching on video, you'll see this piece. One of the hosts, her name is Anna Kasparian, actually did a piece on the trial. And she surprisingly admitted she got it wrong when she initially had Kyle tried and convicted and hung. Because that's what they do. That's the Young Turks. They are a far leftist news outlet, and they will not do anything unless it feeds the leftist narrative, especially when it comes to guns. So I've got to give her credit. She actually was did a very stand-up thing here. This is Anna Kasparian from the Young Turks.
These details do matter because this stuff is caught on camera. You do see it in the video, someone taking a skateboard and hitting Rittenhouse over the head with it as he's on his back. There's someone captured on video, someone who has not been identified, kicking Rittenhouse in the face. So look, these details matter because if you're going to make an argument that you acted in self-defense, there needs to be some proof that there was an imminent threat, right? And in this case, the imminent threat is the guy using the skateboard and someone kicking Rittenhouse in the face as he's on his back. And initially, I was under the assumption that Rittenhouse was the person who was chasing after Joseph Rosenbaum, that's how it had started. But I was wrong about that, okay? So I want to correct the record. I was, in fact, wrong about that.
Wow, okay. Well, I can't criticize that. I cannot criticize that. Anna Kasparian from the Young Turks, pretty well watched liberal network, I guess, as liberal networks on social media go. She assumed Kyle Rittenhouse was chasing. No, he was not. He was hit with a skateboard and kicked. He had a gun pointed at him. There you go. There you go. Every one of the shootings was justified because self-defense is a right in this country. It's not a suggestion, it's a right. It's not something you can try away. It's a right. His life was in imminent danger. And he acted accordingly. And I Okay, here's the thing, though. Some thug, and this was on Tucker last night, some thug in a car on a phone doing a Twitter thing says they are scoping out who the jurors are and watching the jurors and saying they'd better make the right decision. In other words, they'd better find Kyle Rittenhouse guilty. Well, no, that would be the wrong decision. That would be the absolute wrong decision. But that's the message being sent to the jurors who now are being told they have to fear for their lives. If they find Kyle Rittenhouse not guilty, their lives will be in danger. That was the threat. This is what's happening now. There is no more trial by jury. It's trial by the mob. Because the mob threatens the jury, and the jury makes a decision based on what the mob is threatening them with. We've seen this happen. This happened during the election. This happened in Brooklyn Center, Minnesota, after the cop shot the guy, the unarmed guy in the car, thinking it was her taser. The mob threatened if they didn't fire the city manager. What did the city manager do that was so bad? The city manager said that the police officer should get due process. Why? Because that's the law. That's the law here in America. You get due process. The mayor didn't like that. The mayor criticized him, called for him to be fired. And the mob started saying, well, you better fire him. Better fire him or there's going to be consequences. One of the city councilors, I think it was, a female, said, I didn't want the city manager fired, but I was being threatened, people threatening to come to our houses. So she voted to fire him. This is what is wrong in America now. We are allowing the few to control the many. The mob is on the side of the leftists. The mob loves the leftists. Congress loves the leftists. They just do. All you've got to do is look. The leftists love the mob loves the leftists, and that's how everything shakes down in America now. That's why you will not hear Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, AOC, Maxine Waters, or any of the rest of them. The feckless Democrats, you will not hear them say anything bad about those who ravaged America last summer, last year. The only thing they will talk about is January 6th, which was, by comparison, nothing. The mob, the angry mob, is controlling the narrative. And the Democrats are happy to let them. Happy to let them. You want to threaten judges? You want to threaten juries? Go right ahead. Plays into our narrative. I'm sure Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer and AOC and Ilhan Omar thank whoever they worship. Al Gore, climate change, I don't know. Thank whoever they worship that the mob is out there to make sure justice isn't gotten by anybody who doesn't agree with them. They're probably praying, oh, you go get those jurors. I can see Nancy Pelosi, I can see AOC now. Oh, I hope they get those jurors. If they find Kyle Rittenhouse innocent, I hope they get those jurors and give them what they deserve. Evil. Evil lives in D.C. And in our states, in Maine, the evil is living. At 10:41 right now, we do have to take a break. I'll be right back. I'm John James. This is Freedom's Pep Rally.
Legacy 1160 WSKW.
If you love to shop, whether it's for yourself or for others, you've got to visit Townline Antiques. Because with new items arriving nearly every day, you never know what treasure you may stumble upon. Whether it's vintage signs, sports memorabilia, jewelry, coins, books, comics, artwork, or classic electronics, you're always sure to find something that tickles your fancy. Plus, there's lots of great furniture, glassware, and household goods. And their vintage Christmas booth is now fully stocked with so many wonderful items. If you're looking for ornaments, lights, stockings, figurines, or any other holiday decor, you've got to stop by to shop this dazzling selection. You'll also find Santas galore with dolls, pictures, ceramics, and more. Or how about a classic Christmas toy like a teddy bear or a truck? Townline Antiques is a great place to find that truly one-of-a-kind gift. Or treat yourself to a trip through some wonderful memories with a present for yourself. Townline Antiques, open Tuesday through Sunday from 10 to 5. Route 201, right on the Winslow-Vassalboro Town Line.
What's important here at Moody's is we have a lot of opportunity for upward mobility.
Moody's definitely helped me through. They sent me to school. I got my degree in business. I had the demeanor and I had the willpower and the want.
Our trade is constantly changing and there's always new challenges that arise.
I definitely feel like an owner. It's very exciting.
When you like what you do, you like your job, you like the people you work with, what else could you ask for?
Bring your skills to Moody's and build a long-term future with us.
I'm CBS 13 meteorologist Matt Honig. Few showers, but the trend will be for increasing sunshine. Temperatures will still be seasonable today in the mid-50s. Thursday for Veterans Day looks quite nice for a blend of sunshine and clouds. Temperatures will be a bit cooler in the low 50s. Our next storm system moves in on Friday. That'll bring a quick hitting period of heavy rain and strong winds, and Saturday is looking much better.
Welcome back. Freedom's Pep Rally. I'm John James, your host. Pleased to be with you for 3 hours every single day. Coming up at 11 o'clock, we have got a guest. His name is Joseph Curl from the Washington Times Drudge Report. Writer, does writing for Fox News and others. Been covering the news for over 30 years. Jonathan Curl. Thinking of Jonathan Carl. Sorry about that. Joseph Curl is going to be here with us. All right. I said it correctly that time. All right. We've got 1044 right now on Legacy 1160 WSKW. And right back into what is happening. We've got Lion Brian Williams on his way out. Excuse me, you say. Lion Brian Williams? How on earth could he be leaving? Well, happy trails, Lion Brian, former host of the NBC Nightly News before he lied and was called out, before he was demoted to the cesspool of journalism called MSNBC. He announced yesterday that he is leaving the company at the end of the year, the end of a chapter and the beginning of another. He said in a statement, "There are many things I want to do, and I'll pop up again somewhere, maybe in a helicopter over Iraq getting shot down, or maybe not." So for the past 5 years, Lion Brian has anchored the 11th Hour, which is an end-of-day newscast on MSNBC. Now, the reason he was demoted to the cesspool that is MSNBC is because he lied back in 2015 about stolen valor, I like to think. He lied about an earlier encounter in Iraq. He said he was on a helicopter that was hit by gunfire and an RPG. Whew, it's kind of scary. And I mean, they do embed journalists with troops, and he was in fact embedded. I can't deny that. I mean, that's proof. There's proof of that. However, his memory of the embedding with the troops in Iraq was a little off. Here's how he recalled it on the David Letterman show.
We were the northernmost Americans in Iraq. We were going to drop some bridge portions across the Euphrates so the 3rd Infantry could cross on them. 2 of our 4 helicopters were hit by ground fire, including the one I was in.
No kidding.
RPG and AK-47.
What altitude were you hit at?
We were only at 100 feet doing 100 forward knots because we had these massive pieces of bridge beneath us on slings.
What happens the minute everybody realizes you've been hit?
We figure out how to land safely, and we did.
Whoa. 2 helicopters, including the one I was in, was hit by an RPG and AK-47s. Well, he was called out on Facebook by people who knew his account was false. And on a newscast not much later, he recanted the story.
I made a mistake in recalling the events of 12 years ago. Oops. I want to apologize. I said I was traveling in an aircraft that was hit by RPG fire. I was instead in a following aircraft.
Oops.
We all landed after the ground fire incident and spent 2 harrowing nights in a sandstorm in the Iraq desert. This was a bungled attempt by me to thank one special veteran and by extension, our brave military men and women, veterans everywhere, those who have served while I did not.
Poor recovery. It was an attempt to recognize the brave. What? No, it was an attempt to make yourself into some kind of hero. You recalled it not once, you recalled it at least twice when you went on David Letterman and recalled it. And then, oops, somebody called me out on it. Guess I got to apologize. Lion Brian Williams. Lucky for Brian, there are plenty of news outlets looking for non-journalists who are dishonest, so he should have no problem finding another job somewhere, maybe CNN, who knows. Have to wait and see. It's 10:48 right now on Legacy 1160, WSKW. And Don Lemon is staying with news guys here. Don Lemon could be in trouble. He could be in big trouble, actually. A man who accused Don of assaulting him in a Hamptons bar a few years ago claims that the alleged behavior could be part of a pattern. Now, the guy's name is Dustin Heiss. He is the accuser. And he made those comments on the Megyn Kelly show yesterday, or rather Monday. He was on Monday. Lemon's attorneys have fought back against Heiss's lawsuit and court filings, accusing the ex-bartender of withholding texts, deleting social media posts, and hiding a witness who contradicted his claims. Well, how do you hide a witness? I mean, if the witness wants to speak, the witness will find a way to speak, right? So you want to hear Dustin Heiss? Here's Dustin Heiss, the accuser. His appearance on the Megyn Kelly show on Monday. Listen.
You and George wrap up your shift at your bar and decide to go out for a late night drink.
Well, we had worked almost 2 weeks consecutively because 4th of July fell in the middle of the week that week or that year. And we had worked for almost 2 weeks straight. So Sunday we came into work and we had very little, if any, reservations on the books. So our boss, George, gave us the night off. And so we went to Montauk for a little bit and then we came to Sag Harbor and that's when I encountered Don Lemon.
Okay. And those are towns in the Hamptons that are very popular with folks. So you walk into this bar called Murph's, which I understand is very popular and sometimes with a celebrity set, though it's described as kind of a dive bar. Like it's not a fancy place. It's just popular amongst people who are well known. And did you see him right away when you walked in?
So I walked in and I saw him right out of the corner of my eye and sitting over to the right. And he was with a group of a couple other men. And I said to George, I said, look, that's Don Lemon right there. And I decided to approach him and I said, hey, Don, let me buy you a drink. And before he could even respond, I looked at the bartender and I said, let me get 2 lemon drops. And if anything, that was an attempt at humor. And I didn't mean anything derogatory or, I wasn't trying to harass him or, and Don looks at me and says, I'm just trying to have a good time. And at that time, I said, okay, I'm sorry. And I walked away. And I thought that was the end of it.
What time of night was this?
Approximately about maybe 10 p.m., maybe 9:30.
Okay. And could you tell at this point, this particular point where you would offer to buy him a lemon drop, whether he was intoxicated?
I mean, it seemed that he had had a few drinks, that's for sure.
How could you tell?
He just was kind of like shaking his head, and he was like, he looked at me like, you're a bartender. You pick up on these things. People sit at your bar and drink all the time, and he did not look sober by any means.
And I'll ask you this because it becomes relevant shortly, but for the record, are you straight?
Oh, yes. I have a girlfriend, and, once this is all behind me, we hope to get married one of these days.
Okay. So in no way was this a sexual come on by you offering a drink. Okay. And Don is openly gay and either engaged or married to a man. So, and that's been well established. Okay. So it was basically just a friendly gesture. He declined it. And then what happened next?
So I walk around the bar, and about 5 minutes goes by, and he comes around the bar and comes up to me, and he says, pardon my language, but he says, do you like me? Is that why you're f***ing with me? And I said, no, I just wanted to say what's up. And I was just like, what's this guy's problem? And I look at my boss, and I look back, and he has his hand in his pants, rubbing himself aggressively. And he shoves his two fingers up underneath my mustache, thrusts my head back, and says, do you like p*** or dick? And he said it like 2 or 3 times after that. And I just said, what the hell, man? And I just ran out the back door.
There you go. There is the accuser of Don Lemon. What do you make of that? So, I'll be curious to see if CNN is going to be forced to say anything about this at some point. We'll see. Just kind of disgusting, isn't it? 10:53 right now on Legacy 1160 WSKW. And coming up, we have Joseph Curl at 11 o'clock, reporter for the Washington Times. The Drudge Report, he's been on writing for Fox News. And another great guest on the way. We'll talk about what is going on, what he sees, get his perspective on things from Washington. Coming up here in just a short time from right now. Another thing I want to bring up is holiday travel. If you're planning on going anywhere for the holidays, you probably want to keep this in mind. There could be long waits. There could be cancellations as the vax mandates for federal employees like the TSA takes effect. Now, here's a report from Good Morning America. So, they're admitting their vaccine mandates could be causing some problems on mainstream media.
This morning with AAA predicting 4.2 million travelers will take to the sky this Thanksgiving, almost twice as many as last year. Questions are looming about vaccine mandates and if airports will have enough employees to handle that crush of passengers. TSA employees have now passed the date where they could get the shot in order to be immunized by the government's November 22nd deadline for federal employees. The TSA won't tell us how many of its workers are still not vaccinated, but as of 3 weeks ago, 40% had not received a shot. A source telling ABC they don't expect Thanksgiving travel to be impacted by potential terminations, saying after the 22nd, TSA workers who remain unvaccinated will be called to meet with supervisors to be counseled and educated on getting vaccinated. If they still don't get the shot, they'll receive a warning, and after that, they'd be subject to termination.
Ouch. You're terminated. How many professionals can we lose? Police, firefighters, nurses, doctors, paramedics, TSA. How many professionals can we lose before America goes off the rails? All because they aren't getting the vaccine, the mandatory vaccine. Have you even noticed incrementally what they've done? It's gone from the vaccine suggestion to the vaccine mandates to now you can't go into certain places or on certain things, modes of transportation, unless you're masked and or vaccinated, to you're going to get fired if you don't get vaccinated. And now Joe Biden is considering mandates for 5 to 11-year-olds. And you don't think there's anything sinister going on here, lefties? Really? Really? What turnip truck did you fall off? So you may not be traveling this unless you drive. Better have your passport ready. No, sorry. Biden administration will not rule out the requirement for domestic air passengers to be vaccinated. Now, it's already a thing when you're traveling overseas and coming back. You got to show your passport to get back into America. But now this may extend to domestic travel. Principal Deputy Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre said that, can't rule out anything like that. I'm not the one to ask. Can't rule it out. That means she knows something and isn't talking. So this is not headed in a good direction. And we should all be very, very worried. And we should not let up. I don't know what more we can do than speak out, but we can't stop doing that. And we've got to resist shutting up because the mob is saying nasty things about us. You're big. Put on your big boy or big girl pants. Stand up to them. You're not going to stop them from raging. They're going to rage, and they won't stop. They won't back down. They'll keep raging and raging. Don't leave them alone. Do not leave them alone. Speak your truth and do it unapologetically and bravely. Don't know where we're going, but you can see where we're headed. I'll be right back. We've got Joseph Curl coming up, New York Times reporter, and we'll talk about whatever you want to talk about. You can go ahead and drop some questions in the comments, and we'll ask him. We'll be right back.
Legacy 1160, WSKW.
There are two types of people in the winter, those that put off their heavy work until the spring, and those who visited Whittemore & Sons for a Coyote tractor, so they can get nearly any job done no matter the weather. Coyote tractors are some of the toughest, most powerful, fuel-efficient, technologically advanced tractors ever built. Move that big pile of snow, transport that wood, and take care of all of your other heavy-duty winter jobs in no time with a Coyote tractor. Check out our full line of tough and versatile Coyote compact tractors, attachments, implements, and accessories at Whittemore & Sons, with dependable sales and service for over 50 years. Speaking of service, don't forget our service department is always ready to get you back in business. You never know when something may go wrong, but no matter when it does, Whittemore & Sons is ready to help. If you have questions or want to schedule a pickup, just call 474-2591. Run ahead of the pack with a Coyote tractor from Whittemore & Sons on the Waterville Road in Skowhegan. Sales and service by a family who cares.
What's important here at Moody's is we have a lot of opportunity for upward mobility.
Moody's definitely helped me through. They sent me to school. I got my degree in business. I had the demeanor and I had the willpower and the want
Our trade is constantly changing and there's always new challenges that arise.
I definitely feel like an owner. It's very exciting.
When you like what you do, you like your job, you like the people you work with, what else could you ask for?
Bring your skills to Moody's and build a long-term future with us.
I'm CBS 13 meteorologist Matt Honig. Few showers, but the trend will be for increasing sunshine. Temperatures will still be seasonable today in the mid-50s. Thursday for Veterans Day looks quite nice. For a blend of sunshine and clouds, temperatures will be a bit cooler in the low 50s. Our next storm system moves in on Friday. That'll bring a quick hitting period of heavy rain and strong winds, and Saturday is looking much better.
From the Home Auto Group Studios, Farmington Ford and Franklin Chrysler in Farmington. This is WSKW, Skowhegan, Augusta, Waterville, Legacy 1160.
ABC News, I'm Jim Ryan. The Labor Department reports that consumer prices jumped 6.2% last month compared to a year ago. It's the highest inflation rate increase since 1990. One thing that's costing more, heating your home. ABC's Rebecca Jarvis with more on an analysis by the Energy Information Administration.
They expect that nearly half of U.S. households using natural gas will spend 29% more on their fuel bills this year than last winter, 48% more if it's a particularly cold winter. Heating oil is expected to jump 39% from last year. Propane is expected to rise 46%, and electricity is expected to increase 6%.
Gas prices also are expected to continue rising. A federal judge has ordered the National Archives to turn over call logs, emails, and notes from the days leading up to, on, and after the Capitol Hill riot. At least 20 lawsuits are now filed in relation to the deadly Travis Scott concert last Friday in Houston. This is ABC News. Shares in the electric vehicle maker Rivian began trading on Wall Street today, with prices starting at $78 per share. It has a market value of over $66 billion. That's bigger than Honda or Ford. With the UN Climate Summit set to end on Friday, at least one world leader is heading back to the talks. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson has pressed negotiators to come up with more action on climate change. Sentencing day for another parent in the college admission scam.
Humayun Zada paid tens of thousands of dollars to scheme mastermind Rick Singer to get his daughter admitted to the University of Southern California as a lacrosse recruit, even though the young woman did not play and had not been recruited. Federal prosecutors in Boston said Zada deducted some of these payments from his federal income tax returns, improperly inflating his refund. At one point, Zada's daughter pushed back on attending USC out of concern she did not get in on her own merits. Zada texted Singer that he had not shared anything about our arrangement, but somehow she senses it.
It's ABC's Aaron Kaczynski. I'm Jim Ryan, ABC News.
O'Reilly. When you need auto parts, O'ReillyAuto.com is just a few clicks away. We offer convenient options for you to get your parts quickly. Order online and pick up for free at your local O'Reilly Auto Parts store. We'll even bring it out curbside. Or you can have your parts delivered right to your door with free shipping on most orders over $35. Visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts. At Shell, we know from the time you get up to the time you wrap up, there's a lot of meetups, eat-ups, and hurry-ups. So come to Shell and get 3 things done at once. Fill up with Shell V-Power Nitro Plus to help keep your engine running like new. Save up with the Fuel Rewards program and never pay full price for gas again. And snack up with in-store rewards to save even more at the pump. Make the most of the stop you need to make with Shell. And engines that continuously use Shell V-Power Nitro Plus premium gasoline. See full terms and conditions at fuelrewards.com.
Freedom's Pep Rally. Hi. Welcome back. John James here. And thank you, Judy. Homeschooling requires no vaccines whatsoever here in Florida. Can they mandate vaccines anyway? Homeschooling? I don't know. Excuse me. I don't know why. I don't normally yawn on the radio. Whew, that's embarrassing. I apologize for that. Sometimes it just overcomes you. You know what I'm saying? We had a homeschooling guest on recently, and she was absolutely great. I just... Oh, good. Okay. hold on. I just got a text from my guest, Joseph Curl, and so I'm going to send him an email here with the video link, so we can get him up on video. Again, this is how it goes on live radio, right? You're watching it happen. You're watching the magic play out. So I've got to get my link, and I've just got to send it to him, and I will do that. I do have to pay attention as I'm typing the email address, or I'm going to get it wrong, as I did with our guest yesterday. Not yesterday, day before. It wasn't Raymond Arroyo. It was the person the day before. I got it completely wrong. So let me just do this quick email. We're going to have Joseph Curl on here shortly. All right. I don't want to say it out loud because EDNE at WashingtonExaminer.com. XAMINER.com. There's another outlet that he works for. And I'll make this quick, and then we'll get him on post haste. All right, there's the link, and I am clicking send, and you watch how quickly this happens. This is the magic of modern day radio. All right, 11:07 right now on Legacy 1160, WSKW, Maine's Heritage Station. And we've got Joseph Curl coming up. We're going to talk with this guy who has been a reporter for many, many years on the news. We will talk about whatever news you have questions about. He is in the middle of things, and he will tell us things we cannot otherwise know by watching mainstream media. And remember, one of the outlets he worked for, two of them, Washington Examiner, Washington Times, both very fair journalistic outlets. Plus, the Drudge Report works for Drudge, and also does some writing for Fox News. It's Joseph Curl. So he should be with us here shortly. Did we actually send the email? I do believe we did. So let me double click it to make sure. Okay, so that'll be coming up shortly. Now, before we, while we're waiting for Joseph to come on with us here, and I'll stop as soon as we get him in here. I want to give you this little statistic I just got. President Joe Biden's popularity continues to decline. We know it's in the 30s now. Kamala is in the 20s, which is just that's laughable. It's actually pathetic. But here's how bad it is. His popularity, with more Americans now opposing Joe Biden seeking another term than are opposing Donald Trump from running again. So now suddenly the incumbent is much less popular than the sitting president, who nobody has any faith in. USA Today and Suffolk University released polling data Sunday showing Biden's approval rating sinking to a new low. And Republicans are currently favored over Democrats ahead of the 2022 midterms. And now I know that's still a year out, but they're predicting, many pundits, including some Democratic pundits, are predicting a bloodbath for the Democrats. When asked if they wanted Biden to run again in the 2024 presidential election, 64% of respondents expressed their opposition, including 28% of Democrats. To think he still has a majority of Democrats wanting him to seek re-election is mind-blowing. The majority of Americans also expressed opposition to Trump seeking another term in 2024, but a lower level than those against Biden. 58% said they were against Trump running again in the next election. Notably, though, that only included 24% of Republicans, suggesting Trump remains more popular with GOP voters than Biden does with Democratic voters. So that's good news. Now, you know, when it comes right down to it, all I want is a good candidate who is aligned with the new Republicans. I don't want, and I don't think most of you want to see somebody like, you know, I don't know, take your pick from the Republican caucus. I mean, do you want to see somebody like Mitch McConnell run? Would you like to see somebody like that run, or Lindsey Graham? Or would you rather see somebody like Matt Gaetz or Ron DeSantis? Yeah, right. Now you're talking. So I'm hold on a second here. I've got to check something because I am not hearing back on this email I just sent. And, you know, I probably once again did the wrong address. Let me check. Joseph Curl is the guy who is going to be on with us. How many times do you type in an email address? I like clicking links. Typing in email addresses, for some reason, it's taboo for me. I don't do well with doing that. No, it appears I did it right. It appears I did it right. So, WashingtonExaminer.com. Okay. Let me double check it here on my phone. Yeah. All right. Okay. Well, I sent it. So hopefully we'll get Mr. Curl in here shortly. I'm really excited to talk to Joseph Curl, very renowned journalist. So some news out of New Jersey now following last Tuesday's election. New Jersey was very, very close. It was very hairy for New Jersey. Former two-term New Jersey Governor Chris Christie. He's another one I wouldn't want to see run for president. But here's what he said Tuesday. The Republican Party is gearing up for a potential legal fight in the governor's race that was much tighter than expected there in New Jersey. As of last Friday, with an estimated 95% of the ballots counted, incumbent Democrat Phil Murphy held a greater than 2-point lead over Republican challenger Jack. I'm not sure. Is it Citarelli? Maybe. I'm not sure. The Real Clear Politics average of polls had given Murphy a 7.8 percentage point advantage heading into the contest. And President Joe Biden carried the state by nearly 16 points. So it's less than 2 points that Phil Murphy won re-election by. Per Chris Christie, the New Jersey National GOP is gearing up for a legal battle if necessary. It's incredibly close. So we'll see what happens there. And Gavin Newsom, I'm not sure what the update on him is. The governor of California, Gavin Newsom, insofar as I know, I haven't seen an update, he's still missing. He's been missing for over a week. He hasn't been seen anywhere for over a week. Now, maybe this has changed. So what's up? And by the way, it was after he got the booster shot. Huh. What on earth could that be about? So Governor Gavin Newsom of California, probably the most tyrannical governor in all of America, is missing. Is he sick? Is he suffering adverse effects? Or is he, as his handler said, just spending time with the family? I don't know. I have not seen an update on that. Very interesting, to be sure. What haven't we covered? I'm just I don't want to get into anything that's going to go too long in case Joseph shows up here on the feed. And so far, nothing. So we'll just get into this. Hillary Clinton is the one, not Donald Trump. Adam Schiff, by the way, Adam Schiff was on The View. I think it was yesterday or the day before. Adam Schiff was on The View, and he was being questioned, and they didn't stop. The View, the ladies on The View, Joy Behar, they didn't stop this former Trump team member from asking questions of Adam Schiff that were hard on him. Well, basically saying, why were you pushing this thing when it was a lie? And Adam Schiff, I was going to air some of it, but Adam Schiff is just the slimiest piece of crap ever. And Sonny Hostin and Whoopi Goldberg and Joy Behar, they're fawning over Adam Schiff. What a sleazebag. And he demeaned this woman that was asking him. He basically blew her off. So I didn't even want to air it. Good on her for, at the very least, asking the question. Getting an amazing number of spam calls today. So who is the one who colluded with Russia, really? Well, it looks like it was Hillary Clinton. In a report from WND.com, it is claimed that Hillary Clinton and many Democratic Party leaders have never accepted Donald Trump's 2016 victory. They accused him of colluding with Russia to steal the election from her, and they still are. Adam Schiff is sticking by his lies that he's been telling now for how many years? I don't know, 3-4 years. But the evidence continues to grow that it was Hillary who engaged in the collusion. While her presidential campaign was threatened by the FBI's probe of her mishandling of classified information. Well, look at that. I mean, wow, this woman is crazy. She's got lies and deceit going everywhere. She's got the email server. She's got the collusion. She's got the dossier. She's got it all going on. Adam Schiff, though. Oh, Adam Schiff. Well, there's that P video that Adam Schiff, comedians fooled him into thinking that there was this P video from Russia, which included Donald Trump. Ew. Of course, that was a lie. And then he went on MSNBC and CNN every week saying, I have got proof, I've got proof, personal proof that Donald Trump colluded with Russia. He never had jack squat that anybody colluded with anyone. Now, here's the deal. The arrest and indictment of the Russian citizen believed to be the dossier's primary subsource has given a new saga to the wrinkle, or a new wrinkle to the saga, however you want to put it. Some of the anti-Trump documents' most sensational and now debunked claims include the infamous P tape I was just talking about, which came originally from a Hillary Clinton lieutenant, according to an indictment handed down last Thursday by John Durham's office. Uh-oh. Oh, my word, it's closing in on Hitlery. The Hildebeest. It's closing in on the cackling Hildebeest. One of the most phony people you will ever see. Maybe it'd be a toss-up. Be a great contest between Kamala and Hillary for which one is the most fake and most phony. That would be a good race. So the Clinton aide is communications consultant Charles Dolan Jr., who was identified in the indictment of Igor Danchenko as PR executive 1 for Hillary Clinton. Former director of national intelligence, guy by the name of John Ratcliffe, you may have heard of, was actually on with Maria Bartiromo this past weekend. Maria asked him, what happens if all of your colleagues on the left who attacked you throughout the years, what happens to them? Now, you were trying to educate and inform the American people, and they were attacking you. Adam Schiff, who went on MSNBC and CNN, said there was collusion in plain sight. He saw what you saw. And what about Mark Warner attacking you repeatedly as you were informing the American people in 2018, 2019, 2020? What about that, John Radcliffe? What say you?
I give John Durham over 1,000 other documents that have not yet been declassified that I know include intelligence that goes specifically to this criminal activity that would be the basis for further indictments. And, again, what happened with the Steele dossier, a grand jury is saying was criminal in nature. And I expect that all of the folks that are involved with creating it and peddling it falsely would be in jeopardy.
Wow. All of them would be in jeopardy, including maybe Adam Schiff. Shifty. Now, in addition to the recent indictment by special counsel John Durham, Radcliffe says he's given Durham much more information, which should lead to even more indictments. John Radcliffe.
What we got from this indictment goes right to the Clintons.
Do we have the other John we don't have the other John Radcliffe cut. All right, so we have a Jim Jordan cut. Good. So Maria Bartiromo the other day was joined by Ohio Congressman Jim Jordan. And Jim Jordan says exactly what the recent indictment shows, and it goes right to crooked Hillary Clinton.
What we got from this indictment is it goes right to the Clintons. People who were tight with the Clintons were actually part of the sourcing for Christopher Steele. And the other key takeaway is they accused President Trump of actually working with Russians, which was complete baloney, but they were in fact working with Russians. Go to page 12 of the indictment. Page 12 of the indictment says Russian subsource was telling people that if Clinton won, he was going to get a job in the State Department of a Clinton administration. I mean, these guys, this is, you can't make this stuff up. Page 12 of the indictment. So I always point out, too, the two indictments that Mr. Durham has done with both Zussman and now Danchenko, both of them are not about lies that these guys gave to Durham and his investigative teams. These are about the lies that started the whole process back in 2016 and 2017. So Durham is going right to the source, and the source is the Clinton campaign manufacturing this false information, getting it to the FBI, and the FBI took it and used it as the basis to go after a presidential campaign and spy on President Trump and his campaign. Is as wrong can be. Yeah. I hope Mr. Durham is going to keep digging and hold more people accountable.
Now, we've been waiting for this Durham shoe to fall. I mean, how long have we been waiting for John Durham to start indicting people, holding them accountable? I don't expect Hillary Clinton is going to receive anything more than the slap on the wrist. The woman is as corrupt can be. So is her husband. He's a little bit more likable than she is. So is their daughter. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree, my friend. Boy, I'll tell you right now, the daughter is making bank. Whoa. She got a pretty good job. Making some huge money and probably getting some stipend from the Clinton Foundation as well. Well, gun rights, once again, is on the table. Are they going to be expanded? Are gun rights going to be expanded? They should be. They should absolutely be expanded in places like Chicago, in places like Los Angeles and San Francisco and California and it's in California and New York City and Atlanta and all of the big Democratic-run crap holes, Seattle, Portland, where gun rights are limited. You can't limit the Constitution. You can't limit a God-given right, but they do. They do. There is no originalism in their take on the Constitution. There is none. It is whatever they feel, whatever will make their people feel good, doesn't matter if it goes by the Constitution or not. And that's the argument being heard right now by the Supreme Court. Chief Justice John Roberts at one point last week pressed New York's Solicitor General about the breadth of the law that, get this, requires an individual to show proper cause before obtaining a gun license in locations typically open to the general public, even in rural areas. Here's an actual fair and factual report from CNN. And I'm going to let you hear this because these are very few and far between. But this is actually an accidental case of journalism by the cable news network.
Well, Anna, it doesn't really seem like the conservative majority on this court does seem inclined to strike down this New York law and as a result expand the Second Amendment here. And of course, that would have huge implications for similar gun restrictions currently in place around the country. Of course, the last big guns case was back in 2008 when the court determined there that individuals have that right to keep guns inside the home for self-defense. But this is a case concerning a New York law and the question of how or if government can restrict rights to carry a gun outside the home for self-defense. So what we saw in these arguments is the conservative justices really seeming troubled by the breadth of this New York law and the broad discretion that it gives local officials to determine if individuals, in fact, are eligible for this gun license to carry. Specifically, this New York law, it requires people seeking a license to actually show what they say proper cause, meaning they have to detail specific circumstances as to why they should be able to carry a gun into public places for self-defense. The lawyer for the two men fighting this law say that the law itself infringes on the Second Amendment since the right to carry guns should be broad. People seeking a license, he says, shouldn't have to prove these special circumstances, while the New York officials here say history is filled with instances of government officials restricting guns in public places. So, Anna, it will be a showdown between these two arguments here, but conservatives do seem to be on the side that this New York law might have to be struck down.
Absolutely. The law should be struck down. The law should be struck down. People have a right, a constitutional, God-given right. That's what is meant by inalienable. Can't be given by government, can't be taken away by government, but government, they take it away. What's wrong with that? Well, that is illegal. That is illegal. The people who are telling us to only do legal things are doing illegal things. Vaccine mandate. Telling people they can't carry a gun if they're law-abiding and can pass the background check. Telling them they can't carry a gun. They shouldn't even need a permit. They shouldn't even need a permit. We don't need a permit in Maine. God bless Maine. God bless America. There's one thing we've got. Constitutional carry. What does that mean? Just what it says. Your permit is the U.S. Constitution. You don't need a permit. You don't need a stinking plastic card with your picture on it to carry a gun in Maine, because that would be unconstitutional and was for many, many years, but is not now. You can do the same in New Hampshire. You can do the same in Vermont. You can go cross-state between the three states, not have a permit. Oh, but you go to Massachusetts, you're going to be put in jail, my friend. Why? Well, because Massachusetts is unconstitutional. They are illegal in their denial of people's right to keep and bear arms, to protect their lives and the lives of their family. They are illegal. Every rule requiring you to have a permit to carry a gun if you're a law-abiding gun owner is illegal on its face. I had a permit. I still got a permit. I do keep a carry permit. And I'll tell you why, because you need a permit to go to states that require a permit. Some will recognize, here's another thing. Here is another stupid law, another dumbass law that many of these states impose on law-abiding citizens. While many states will accept the Maine permit as proof that, hey, you know what? I'm safe. I took the course. I've got the card. They will let you carry a gun in different states. Not Massachusetts. Maine permit doesn't work in Massachusetts. I think it works in Florida. So you've taken the safety course now. How can other states deny you the right to carry a gun if you have taken the safety course? You've got a permit to prove it, but it does not from our state. It's not from one of our approved states. Well, Maine is the safest state in the nation. I think if anybody should be allowed to carry guns in any state in this union, it should be people from Maine, because Maine is the safest state in the nation. New Hampshire and Vermont are second and third. They're all constitutional carry states. By the way, every state in the country should be constitutional carry. You put a gun in a holster to protect yourself and your family, you should be able to drive from sea to shining sea with a gun on your hip. Judy carries Kimber. Good for you. That's a great firearm, great gun, beautiful guns. I've got a Kimber. It's a 9mm. It's a stainless 9mm, rubber grips, 1911. That's about all Kimber makes is 1911s. Big ones, little ones. Anyways, that's a great platform. Cameron says, tell them you're on your way to Texas. If it's legal at the starting state and destination state, then all states between shall honor the permit. Okay, so there's this, Cameron. Interesting. A woman, and I reported on this, a couple of instances similar to this. And this goes back to 2014 or 15. Woman, I can't remember. She was in Ohio or something like that. Anyway, so she has to drive through New Jersey, I think. New Jersey or Pennsylvania, where they don't recognize the gun laws in the state she came from. They pulled her over for something. I don't know, taillight. I have no idea what. So she, in full disclosure, says, I've got a gun in my glove box. They arrest her. She got kids. They take her kids. They arrest her. And she is threatened with something like 10 years in prison. I think this might have been New Jersey. And I think, if memory serves, and it's on my website, American Women Who Bear Arms somewhere, which is down right now. But I think, as I recall, Governor Chris Christie may have stepped in. This woman was facing being separated from her kids for 10 years because she illegally had a gun in her glove box while traveling through New Jersey, or as I say, maybe it was Pennsylvania, but I remember vividly the outrage over this story. And there was another one similar to that with a man. And maybe they changed the law since then. I'm going to have to look that up, Cameron. That's very interesting that you bring that up, because you are not, as far as I know, you are not allowed to go through. And my friend had the same situation. My friend, a former cop here in Maine, moved to South Carolina, and I think he had to mail his guns because he couldn't go through like Massachusetts. He couldn't go through Connecticut. He couldn't go through some of these states with these draconian, unconstitutional laws, because if they found out he had a gun, he would be arrested and or fined. This is sick. This is part of our sick society. And yet you have people over on CNN like March for Our Lives co-founder David Hogg, that little dweeb, the Parkland survivor. He is asked on CNN if the Second Amendment is expanded to allow people to carry so they can be safe. What do you think, David Hogg, the implications will be? Do tell.
Well, I think the implications will be broad and have an effect on an entire generation. You know, the people that recently wrote in our brief for the Supreme Court case on our judicial advocacy team with March for Our Lives, when DC versus Heller was decided, they were in first grade. I was in second grade. Now we just wrote this brief, and we know how long these decisions have a long-lasting effect. So if they don't side with us, if they don't side with the American people's right not to be shot, we're going to continue to see this epidemic of gun violence continue to grow within this country, and more shootings in our schools and our communities to happen on a daily basis, unfortunately.
Wow, he sounds almost like he knows what he's talking about, but he doesn't. The right not to be shot? Well, I think that would mean you get to carry a gun. You want a right not to be shot? You may need something equal to or greater than what you're being attacked with, whether it be a knife, nunchucks, another gun. Wait, the right not to be shot, you moron, you little dweeb? When DC versus Heller was decided, I was only in first grade. DC versus Heller, you remember what that decided? That decided that the right to own a gun is an individual right. That's what America is based on. Individualism, capitalism, it's based on all those things. Freedom, liberty, justice for all. What is it this little moron, this little dweeb, this little organizer, what is it he doesn't understand about American exceptionalism and the Constitution? What did they teach him in that Broward County school? I'd like to know. Unbelievable. So the host asked, what if a person says they want to carry a gun because they live in a violent area? Then what?
Well, I mean, the fact of the matter is, if we continue allowing, our unregulated militia to continue growing out there again and again, and we see now, what was previously 40,000 people dying annually, and now 45,000 people dying annually from gun deaths.
45,000.
Do we want to live in a society where everybody has to be armed because we have an unregulated system and unregulated militia, where simply because anybody wants to go out and get a gun that they can? The shooter at my high school was able to legally obtain his AR-15 despite repeatedly threatening my high school, and having, just being a 19-year-old. He was able to go out and legally buy that, and we see how bad this is.
Okay, all right. So even though he'd continually threatened the high school, hey, Hogg, eat it, Hogg. Red flags. Guy threatens a high school. Where the hell's law enforcement? There are laws on the books that would have prevented the massacre. There are laws. So what you're saying, David, is we need to make new laws, but you also admitted in the same breath the laws we have don't work. The safety net we have doesn't work. This kid made threats to the high school previously, and he was not put on a watch list. the NICS system was not flagged. The instant background check system was not flagged. There were no red flags. He was able to legally purchase a gun. Well, there's your problem right there. There's your problem. There were warning signs. The guy was mentally unstable, and the school knew it. Who did they tell? And whoever they told, I believe the FBI was told about this. How come nobody did anything? How come nobody said anything? How come the FBI didn't investigate? I mean, 100 million questions going here. Your right to not be shot, David Hogg, does not trump my right to be able to protect myself, Sonny. So he just made the case right there for enforcing the laws that are already on the books. We've already got them. The kid who shot up Parkland should have been on the radar. The red flags were everywhere. Still able to go out and buy a gun. Should have been flagged. System that's in place failed. Enforce the laws we've got before you try to make change. Before you try to make law-abiding citizens criminals, why don't you enforce laws that catch the criminals before they can do something criminal, like shoot up a school? But this is the mentality of the anti-gun left. This is just one of our many fights. One of our many fights. And we'll see how this comes out in New York. I hope it changes the landscape. Again, Maine, New Hampshire, and Vermont, 3 of the safest states in the country. Maine, number 1, last I checked. All 3 states constitute, even Bernie Sanders' Vermont is constitutional carry, much to his chagrin. Further, David Hogg mentioned 45,000 people dying annually from guns. Now, that number may be close to accurate. But, you know, he did fail to tell you, and this may be news to you, something he failed to mention. Of those 45,000 people dying annually from guns, did you know that two-thirds of the people who die annually from guns commit suicide with guns? Now, that's sad. That is sad. There are other ways to commit suicide. A gun is not the only way. People will find a way. So 2/3 of the people who die annually in America via guns are suicides. Well, then they really don't count, do they? That's not gun violence. I mean, that's gun violence against oneself. Sad, to be sure. Okay, but that doesn't make your case. So be honest about that, David. So that brings your number down quite a bit, doesn't it? So that brings the number down quite a bit. Now, he also fails to include that most of the rest are from criminal activity. And of most of the rest that are from criminal activity, a tiny fraction include long guns. Now, long guns include all rifles, all shotguns. Very few. So the case completely falls apart. But this guy, he's got a fan base, probably trying to pick up some hot chicks. Oh, that's a David Hogg guy. Oh, he's anti-gun. He's famous. Another caveat here is drugs are one of the biggest drivers of gun violence. And many of the drug gun assaults are done by criminal, illegal aliens who we're letting in unchecked. Joe Biden letting him in unchecked. whether they be from Central America or Haiti or Afghanistan, unchecked. He packed those planes from Afghanistan without bothering to check them. Packed the planes. He said, overfill them. He said, err on the side of excess. They overfilled the planes. And now you got people like David Hogg and the commissioner of New York City not blaming any of that, not blaming Biden, not blaming anybody, not blaming the illegal aliens, not blaming drugs. No, he's blaming the law-abiding citizens in his own city and across the nation. In an interview aired with radio host John Kamastidis, or Katsamatidis, I guess, called the Cats Roundtable, New York Police Commissioner, NYPD Commissioner Dermot Shea said, "We are watching this very closely." Listen.
When you look at what's going on in the Supreme Court right now, I mean, we are watching this closely, as many New Yorkers are. And, you know, gun violence is something that certainly has hit us here in the last 2 years, and not just New York, but across the country. And we would argue that the last thing we need is the infusion of additional guns into the streets in New York City. So it's definitely something that concerns us.
Wouldn't want to save innocent lives.
We've had our pulse on, you know, how to keep guns out of New York City for so long. To have that kind of upended right now, really
couldn't get much worse.
Can't you at least license them and just not unreasonably withhold? Or what is the exact? What do you think the law would say?
Well, the gun law that's being reviewed right now in the court really looks at that issue. And what is being argued is that any attempt to regulate, and by our license division, certainly here in New York City, would be struck down. What that would do would really open the floodgates in terms of people being able to carry guns across the city. And you'll hear many different sides to this. You'll certainly hear people that would love the right to carry a gun. From our viewpoint, it's a tough enough environment as it is. Even well-meaning people that may wish to carry guns, you know, we see guns stolen. We see heated arguments escalate in a hurry.
Blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah.
We would love for it to be the NYPD and law enforcement to be the ones carrying the guns.
Okay.
Let us deal with the criminals that are illegally carrying the guns on the street. And that's a tough enough job as it is these days.
Yeah, that's working out very well in New York City, isn't it? Police are the only ones that carry guns. That's working out so well as criminals continue to kill people, including police, left and right. Police, and the police who are now being defunded in New York, so there are less of them to respond to crises. Oh, yeah, let the police come to the rescue. Minutes away when seconds count. What the hell is he even talking about? Keep the guns out of the hands of regular citizens. Blah, 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 blah. There's a right in the Constitution, sir. Dermot Shea, all due respect. And it's not working out well for you. People are dying every day. Innocent people. Innocent people who, if they had a gun, may extinguish the not-so-innocent perpetrator if they had the ability to carry a gun. But guess what? All of the perps in New York City, if you use your head for something other than a hat rack, Dermot Shea, David Hogg, if you use it to run some data, because it is pretty amazing computer, at least mine is. If you think about it, one of the reasons there are so many perpetrators and so many people dying in New York City, well, could it be that they know they are not going to be threatened with a gun because guns are against the law in New York City for private citizens? Even though they've got them, they've got the criminals, the thugs have the guns, but they aren't worried about you having a gun. No, it's against the law. You're a law-abiding citizen. You aren't going to have a gun, so they get free rein on you, baby. Good luck being you you New York citizen who aren't allowed to carry a gun, because you might get shot right upside the head and you have no recourse but to stand there and take it and die on the street, waiting for the police to get to your rescue. Whereas if you had a gun and you saw the threat, number one, if they knew you could have a gun, you might not even be threatened. Number two, if you pull a gun, the threat may go away. Worst case scenario, if you pull a gun and the threat looks like it's not going to go away and you shoot the perpetrator, guess what? The person who should win wins. And that would be the law-abiding citizen just trying to go about their day. Is there anything so hard to understand about that? You people seem so thick. You seem so illogical in your thought processes. It drives me crazy. So we'll see where this goes. I hope I think we ought to do our level best to make sure the Supreme Court stays just the way it is until the election in 2022, when there's probably going to be a Democratic bloodbath. And then the next time a Supreme Court seat opens, I think we ought to go full bore ahead to try to replace whoever it is with another conservative. It could be a conservative that leaves or something happens. God forbid we get another leftist, non-originalist person in there. John Roberts. I don't know what John Roberts, nobody knows what John Roberts, sometimes he sides with the people on the right. Sometimes he's a non-originalist and he goes left. I don't know. There's nothing, I hate wishy-washiness. I've never been like that. But there are people in Joe Biden. I mean, Joe Biden is the epitome of vacillating, wishy-washy. What do I do today? Jill, what foot do I put in my pajamas first? Am I for gun control today or am I against it? Am I for illegal immigration today or am I against it? Am I going to support abortion today or am I going to be against it? I wish I was being overly dramatic with that, but I'm not. That's how Joe Biden rolls. Any way the wind blows. I know you were waiting for that, weren't you? You have to have that at the end. It's 11:53 on Legacy 1160. One more story here. MSNBC, one of the most dangerous and most racist outlets on television. Whether you're talking about Al Sharpton, whether you're talking about Joy Reid, whether you're talking about Tiffany Cross, the little girl voice Joy Reid wannabe, they're racist. They push race. They love to put, Joy Reid is deplorable, despicable. She has a daily show where it's nothing but race. Oh, you hate brown and black people. How do you really feel, Joy? Are you this nice at home? Are you this pleasant? Is your personality this pleasant at home? Tiffany Cross, same way. Tiffany Cross, she's the one that wanted to name the J. Edgar Hoover FBI building. He was the first head of the FBI, so it's named for him. She wanted to name it the Stacey Abrams FBI building. Well, bully for you, Tiffany Cross. You're a moron. You're a racist moron. Yeah, she's black. Yeah, black people can be racist. Look at them on MSNBC. You got a bunch of them. You get Joy Reid, you get Tiffany Cross, you get Al Sharpton. So on the Cross Connection, she got a new name for her show, though, so it's pretty cool. Cross Connection. They get the Reid out with Joy Reid. The Cross Connection with Tiffany Cross, and she's always cross. Saturday, she had as a guest someone she describes as our audience favorite, and my pal, Eli Mistal, or Ellie Mistal. He's a guy, he writes for the Far Left Nation magazine. So rather than discuss the murder of Ahmaud Arbery, the topic of the segment, Tiffany Cross decided she'd make the connection to the gun rights case currently before the Supreme Court. What? There's a bit of a stretch. So now this guy, Eli or Elie Mystal, he's a black guy, and he's got this. He's got Don King hair. It's gray Don King hair, and he looks as radical as he is. So here is black racist Tiffany Cross, who believes the FBI building should be renamed after Stacey Abrams, introducing Elie Mystal, the guy who has the freakish gray hair like Don King's, and they're angry racists. And here they go. They try to conflate the murder of Ahmaud Arbery with the New York City gun case. This is just unbelievable.
This morning with AAA predicting 4.2
No. Cut B. Try cut B. Here we go. Here's Tiffany Cross and Elie Mystal.
Joining me now to talk about all of this and more, our audience favorite justice correspondent at The Nation and my pal, Elie Mystal. Elie, so happy that you're here because I wanted to talk about these Supreme Court cases because I feel like the gun case is a big deal. I'm going to leapfrog over that for a second because in this Ahmaud Arbery case, where the jury is all white and you had these men declaring themselves, deputizing themselves, somebody to, shoot this man. When I was watching this case, I thought about the Supreme Court Second Amendment case and expanding gun rights. And I think about the 3 men who are accused of killing Ahmaud Arbery having more access to guns. It does not seem like a good combination.
Yeah, I think this actually links up with your prior segment and the Biden press conference, because what the Democrats' theory of the case is that the white non-college educated voter cares about things like kitchen table issues, like infrastructure and pipes and how many gallons of milk you can put on the table. I contend that what they care about is using their guns on black people and getting away with it.
Oh, there you go. There's Elie Mystal and Tiffany Cross. How about that? So if you're not college educated, my friend, you're stupid, you're dumb, you're a big dumb white guy if you're not college educated, and all you want to do is take your gun out and shoot black people and get away with it. As Chuck Todd says,
and just a reminder, for what it's worth, there is no editorial point of view here on any of these newscasts on MSNBC in the daytime.
You can't make it up. You can't. There's the moron of the day right there. All right, that's all I got. You have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow morning at 9:00. I don't know about Mike. Mike Violette may surprise us. He may be back tomorrow morning. I will be sure to be back here at 9:00. Hopefully you will too. Thank you for your time. Thank you for sharing. This is Freedom's Pep Rally.
WSKW, Legacy 1160.
If you love to shop, whether it's for yourself or for others, you've got to visit Townline Antiques. With new items arriving nearly every day, you never know what treasure you may stumble upon. Whether it's vintage signs, sports memorabilia, jewelry, coins, books, comics, artwork, or classic electronics, you're always sure to find something that tickles your fancy. Plus, there's a lot of great furniture, glassware, and household goods. And their vintage Christmas booth is now fully stocked with many wonderful items. If you're looking for ornaments, lights, stockings, figurines, or any other holiday decor, you've got to stop by to shop this dazzling selection. You'll also find Santas galore with dolls, pictures, ceramics, and more. Or how about a classic Christmas toy, like a teddy bear or a truck? Townline Antiques is a great place to find that truly one-of-a-kind gift, or treat yourself to a trip through some wonderful memories with a present for yourself. Townline Antiques, open Tuesday through Sunday from 10 to 5, Route 201, right on the Winslow-Vassalboro Town Line.
Hi, this is Teresa Smith, Assistant Dean of Enrollment at Kennebec Valley Community College. After nearly 30 years at the college, rarely a day goes by that I don't run into someone who tells me they graduated from KVCC or that their son, daughter, wife, or cousin went to KVCC. What a privilege it is for me to work somewhere that has such a positive impact. KVCC offers the training people need to enter high-demand, high-paying jobs while keeping the cost of education low. Whether you want to earn a degree or just need short-term training to learn a new skill, KVCC's got you covered. Our spring semester starts on January 10th, and I would really love it if you were the next person to say to me, "Hey, don't you work at KVCC?" Please check us out online at kvcc.me.edu or call 453-5822. That's 453-KVCC.
I'm CBS 13 meteorologist Matt Honig. Few showers, but the trend will be for increasing sunshine. Temperatures will still be seasonable today in the mid-50s. Thursday for Veterans Day looks quite nice for a blend of sunshine and clouds. Temperatures will be a bit cooler in the low 50s. Our next storm system moves in on Friday. That'll bring a quick hitting period of heavy rain and strong winds.